is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Mostly sunny and 20 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
US military officials say a drone strike in Afghanistan has stopped another attack at Kabul airport. America's unmanned airstrike hit a vehicle near the airport carrying ISIS-K operatives and explosives. It came as the US president met with families of the 13 service members killed in last week's suicide bomb blast at the airfield. Their bodies returning as the president, first lady and military chiefs watched on. The US state of Louisiana is bracing for the biggest hurricane in more than a century. Nine's Michael Genovese is there.
Hurricane Ida produced wind speeds more than 200 kilometres an hour before making landfall along the Gulf Coast. A state of emergency has been declared, with New Orleans, Baton Rouge and Morgan City expected to cop the brunt of the monster system. It comes 16 years to the day that Hurricane Katrina battered the area, killing 1,800 people. Katrina was a Category 3. Hurricane Ida is more powerful, a Category 4.
39 people are in quarantine after being identified as close contacts of 2 interstate truck drivers who passed through the state this month. The pair have since tested positive for COVID in Perth. The truckies visited several petrol stations at Port Augusta, Ceduna and Nundroo. SA Health has a list of exposure sites. Local sporting finals were cancelled on the weekend and tourist attractions in the area have closed as a precautionary measure. The New South Wales Premier wants to shift the focus of their COVID fight away from daily case numbers. The number of people testing positive topped a new high of 1,200 yesterday. Gladys Berejiklian is pushing for a focus on hospitalisations rather than the overall infection rate. Support for the federal government has fallen. The latest news poll shows the coalition's primary vote has slipped 3 points to 36% compared to 40% for Labor. The opposition has now opened up an 8-point lead to party preferred. It's 54 to 46. Well, the federal government is under growing pressure to do more to combat climate change ahead of the next election. A new poll by YouGov shows 67% of Australian voters believe the government should pay more attention to expert advice on global warming. Conservation Foundation Chief Executive Officer Kelly O'Shannessy says it's an important issue for Australians, young and old.
Most Australians, no matter what your age, want our government to be doing a lot more, and they want the government to be cutting emissions this decade, not waiting to 2050. That is way too late.
Actor Ed Asner, who appeared on the Mary Tyler Moore Show and more recently voiced Carl in the animated movie Up, has died. He was 91. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Win a $3 million grand prize on South Brighton Esplanade with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. We're going to start with some football. Port Adelaide will wait to learn on the fitness of Orazio Fantasia this morning after he was subbed out of Friday night's qualifying final with a sore knee. The Power have the week off and will now wait to see whether they'll play against either Brisbane or the Bulldogs in next week's prelim. Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge says they're hoping for a day game when they take on Brisbane at the Gabba on Saturday. The AFL says the start time is yet to be confirmed. Beveridge says players won't be allowed to leave their room.
So we fly in Friday and then we're obviously playing Saturday. You'd like to think maybe that game is earlier than a night game. Otherwise, we'll be in the hotel the whole day, which, look, you deal with it, but ideally you're not. So we'll see what happens.
Max Verstappen has won the shortest ever Formula One race. Just 2 laps were completed in a rain-soaked Belgium. He's closed the gap on championship leader Lewis Hamilton, who was third. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo came fourth. Still on motorsport, Fabio Quartararo has taken out the British MotoGP. Aussie Jack Miller finished fourth. To soccer, Tottenham's perfect start to the EPL season's continued, making it 3 wins from 3 starts after beating Watford 1-0. Manchester United also had a 1-0 win against Wolverhampton, while Burnley and Leeds had a 1-1 draw. And American Bryson DeChambeau holds a one-shot lead with half a dozen holes to play at the BMW Championship in Maryland. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
A mostly sunny Monday, a top of 20. Partly cloudy tomorrow, also 20. Then Wednesday, mostly sunny, up to 26. Right now, it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
Keep on running.
Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. I feel like we should just linger with Mel Usher's last few words there for a moment because it is undoubtedly the highlight as you wake up on this Monday morning. 20 today, 20 tomorrow, 25 on Wednesday, and then we go warmer again up to 29 on Thursday. 20, 20, 26, 29 over the course of the next 4 days. Yes, please. Thank you very much. We'll talk more about that with the Bureau coming up a little bit later this hour. Also coming up on the show today, Professor Nicholas Spurrier will be on to talk about the COVID scare we've had with the truckies that traverse from New South Wales through Western Australia, coming through South Australia. We'll talk to her about that, and also some concerns she's flagged yesterday about QR code compliance. The host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Kosher, a little bit later, and a whole heap more as well. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Absolutely lovely set of numbers weather-wise. It was a pretty nice weekend too. There was a bit of rain around on Saturday, but yesterday was a cracking day, I thought. It's only going to get better all this week, Thursday being the biggie before a huge sort of subtropical type deluge heading our way on Friday by the sounds of things. But I always sort of measure the seasons by little moments, and one is the first wearing of the Ugg boot in about, May normally.
Hang on. Are you about to make a big statement about what kind of attire you're going to be in on Thursday?
The thong.
You're going to be...
the jandal, the flip-flop,
I thought you
the
were going
heavy, the double plugger.
I wear thongs all year round, so for
you?
Yeah, absolutely. I
wore some the other day briefly, getting from the shower to the bedroom because there was some broken glass on the floor, and they felt weird putting them on. I was like, thongs.
Yeah. My big toe and little toe are permanently splayed because I wear thongs during winter. I wear trackies and thongs all the time.
Trees.
Yeah, exactly right. I can cling on. It's fantastic.
Watch now as the Goodings hangs upside down.
Pretty much.
Years of repeated thong wearing has made his big toe and index toe fuse together into an unusual shape.
And it had no practical application beyond slipping on thongs much easier. For mine, it's wearing...
Can you open tins of pineapple juice?
It's wearing shorts for mine, and it's too early. I won't do it. It could be 35 on this Thursday, and I won't do it.
See, I go the shorts quite a bit during winter in the garden.
Right.
Because when you get out there and you get into it, like... Sometimes I'm out the front in my gardening clothes and I think, people might walk past and think I'm some sort of lunatic while I'm dressed. That's business shirts and baggy tropical coloured shorts from beach years gone by. Huge bloody Rossi work boots. It's bizarre.
Well, I wonder if our listeners have any ways which they mark the changing of the season. What's a sign for you at your place that the season's changing? 822 30088. Is it a tradition? Is it something you look out for? Is it a moment? Text us on the Telstra Storm Outbacker text line 2048081395. I was sure I would have bet any money you were going to say before you got to the thongs that it was some plant-related sign.
Oh, yeah, I did all that. I planted all my seedlings yesterday.
Right.
Got a couple of seed trays
in anticipation of the weather this week, or just because we're getting to this
put
part
them
of
all in the greenhouse, and I probably should have started them a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, I love doing that. I've got like a little drawer where I keep all my seeds and set them aside for that'll keep them for half a bag of Roma tomato seeds. I'll keep them for next year. Kate just looks at me like, my God, married to the world's oldest man. But I enjoy it, and that's the main thing.
Absolutely.
Hey, speaking of enjoyment, I'll tell you what, how much fun would it have been being a Port supporter on Friday night? That was an absolute demolition job. And I got to say, Will, I said it on Friday, I've got a really bad feeling about this. I reckon Port are absolutely in with a massive chance.
Well, you win that first final, you play the home prelim, you've had the week off, you are 100% in the box seat for a grand final. And once you're in a grand final, well then a lot can happen on the day.
Port v Melbourne in the granny, isn't it?
I think it's looking like that. It's looking like that. The only side that might be able to change the complexion of things is the Bulldogs. But even then, I'm not convinced. Geelong are done. Geelong,
they are, aren't
Geelong need to start a rebuild yesterday.
Yeah, and
unfortunately,
Dad's Army.
Total lack of picks and their salary committed to old blokes. I don't think it's even possible that can happen. But gee whiz, Port made the Cats looked second rate.
Even with all the help the Cats got from the umpiring. How one-sided was that? It was absurd.
The first half. Oh, my goodness.
And look, a good night for Crows supporters too, Saturday night. The club's best and fairest. I was lucky to get along to that. Might have a bit of a more detailed chat about it later on.
Yeah.
But it felt like, the future of the club and the past being celebrated too. I thought it was really nice that D-Mac and Tom Lynch both spoke, and good on them for doing it, because it's pretty awkward, particularly for Tom Lynch. He's sort of going, well, I'm not really sure, what's going to happen now.
Yeah, it was nice they went along and acknowledged.
It was a bridge too far for Talia. He didn't attend, as was expected. But I thought the most interesting thing, speech-wise, was Matthew Nicks made it clear that in his speech, not in a pointed way, but he was talking about the combination of the young and the old and how it works so well so often this year. And he mentioned Tex as part of that, and he said, that's why these guys are part of my vision for the club next year, making it clear that as coach, he thinks that there is a place for Tex.
The most exciting news for Crows fans over the weekend was the development regarding Neil Baum. Now, whether it ultimately comes together or not is another thing, but the bloke's the best. He's the best football department manager in the AFL and has been for a significant period of time. I can't. That is as good as an off-season acquisition as you could hope to make.
Oh yeah,
for a football department that really has struggled for a couple of years now. Needs a little bit of needs a rudder, needs a steady hand, needs a veteran presence, and needs someone who knows the town, which is the added benefit. You're not hiring a mercenary from Victoria. This is Neil Baum. I mean, the bloke has got a long and proud history in this town.
Norwood royalty.
Absolutely.
What's he going to do? Is he going to be like emeritus football director?
It's not clear yet. Is he consulting? Is he?
But you'd hire him to come in for an hour a week
with Adam Kelly. Oh, absolutely.
Hey, Barmy, what do you think of this?
Yeah. Have a look over our books.
Yeah,
what do you think of the way we structure the coach? It's a fantastic appointment. So, I actually think it's been a terrific few days for both of our clubs. But yes, if you're a Port fan there on Friday night, I suggest you would have had a pretty wonderful time. Like our good mate Strop did, going along with Peter Malinauskas on the night. There were some great photos. He dressed up magnificently well, had the full tux on and everything. It looked tremendous. We're going to catch up with him a little bit later in the morning and get a sense of how he went, how he found it. I'm sure he had a cracking night being a Port man. 13 after 6 news headlines in just a moment.
Palmitoyl ethanolamide. It's a word almost as long as the alphabet, but you don't need to know how to pronounce it, just that it helps minimise the effect of chronic pain. At Green Dispensary, they call it PEA for short, or P. P is a natural fatty acid our body produces to combat pain and inflammation. Sometimes the body doesn't produce enough. At Green Dispensary, you'll find a P supplement that may help you produce more and ease pain. Green Dispensary, 4 locations over Adelaide.
Jono, do you know how you were telling me about how Crown does it all when it comes to materials handling?
Yes.
Well, I gave them a call about renting a forklift, and guess what?
What?
It was the best thing I've ever done. I got the forklift I needed, and with their rental guarantee, if I found a competitor's model cheaper, they'd beat it by 10%.
Oh, I told you, Mick, with Crown you'll never go wrong.
Crown Rentals, best price guaranteed. Check them out at crown.com or call 131 604.
There is nothing like a Crown. Picking it up and putting it down.
T's and C's apply.
We can fix your oven, taps, space heaters, your irrigation system, roof leaks, rusting gutters and downpipes. We can even retile your bathroom. Ken Hall Plumbers, your local plumbers since 1983. Give Ken a call, 8364 5855.
If you've ever wondered what the extra stands for in Physio Extra, that's easy.
Extra everything. Extra time with every appointment.
Extra care with a genuine hands-on approach to healing.
Extra expertise. Extra treatment options.
Extra appointments with same-day treatments available. Extra convenient because we have 6 Physio Extra locations around Adelaide. That's right, 6.
It's the extra in Physio Extra that makes all the difference. Visit physioextra.com for your nearest location or call for a same-day appointment.
You could easily be living the life, but you'll need to be quick. The 19th at West is selling premium 2, 3 and 4 bedroom architecturally designed homes from just $730K. Stunning homes with a stunning lifestyle. Explore West's green pathways, paddle on the iconic lake, swim at Grange Beach, or play around at the Grange Golf Club. Start building now and move in next year. Hurry, from $730K, they'll sell fast. Visit the19thwest.com.au.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
15 after 6. We could do 3 hours on the weather this morning. We're asking you, how do you know when the seasons are changing at your place? Not broadly. Not looking at the calendar. What are the sort of traditions that change? Your attire changes. Rob says on the Telstra Storm Barker text line, the days are drawing out. Nice for it not to be pitch black by 6 p.m. That's the good side of this time of year. It certainly is. Tessa in Paraka says season changes confirmed for me in a couple of ways. One, I start waking up early enough to catch Tom Wren. So Rennie will be delighted with that development. Number two, I start wondering whether more babies would be a good idea.
Wow.
Just kidding, three's enough. But there's something about the spring air, says Tessa. Look out, Tessa and Paraka, thank you. And then Sharon at Port Lincoln says, good morning, guys. For me in the summer, thongs, and for winter, socks and thongs. Except when I have to go into town.
Classy.
I'm a Port Adelaide fan and Friday night was so exciting. Regards, Good on you, Sharon. That's great.
Socks and thongs.
Nothing wrong with socks and thongs.
What about that? What a combo.
I'm happy to defend socks and thongs all day. Now, splayed toe. This is what we're dealing with.
That's right.
We've got physiological advantages or disadvantages. Let's talk about what's happening in the news. A second terrorist attack has been thwarted at Kabul airport. A US drone strike has targeted a vehicle carrying at least one person associated with the Afghan branch of the Islamic State group ISIS-K. A military spokesperson says secondary explosions from the vehicle indicated the presence of a substantial amount of explosive material.
It sounds like that van was basically like one giant bomb.
Yeah.
So when they hit it, the second explosion was all the gear inside it going up.
We'll never understand how or why, and certainly there was one massive failing with the one that killed the troops there at the airport. But they're good. We've got some genuine insight into what these people are up to and thinking about, haven't we?
Oh yeah, totally.
So Australian forces said stop going to the airport 24 hours before this attack. This one they've blown up on the way. I'd love to know how they know, but they clearly know. They've clearly
how
built,
would it be?
I'd have no idea. Is it electronic monitoring?
Would it be people on the ground?
Yeah, that's right. Do
like
they have
moles?
Cultivated people who are within ISIS? Maybe.
Sure. How would you do that?
No
how on earth would you do that? What do you start hanging around ISIS meetings to meet people?
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
We'll never know, but it clearly, to some degree, it does work.
So tomorrow's the final day, isn't it?
Tomorrow's it, yeah.
So the last American presidents.
The Brits are out.
We're
out. And, yeah, the US will be out.
I was thinking, coming in the car, I was listening to some of this on the radio, and I was thinking, imagine being the parent of like a US Marine who's over there.
Oh.
Like, the next 24 hours would be the most stressful period of your life, wouldn't they?
100%.
And they're all, most of them are young people.
Absolutely.
Young, poor people, most of them.
Yep. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson says soldiers who lost their lives in Afghanistan did not die in vain. Britain has completed its rescue mission from Kabul airport, airlifting 15,000 people to safety. Here is Boris Johnson.
And thanks to the devotion of British troops and aid workers and diplomats and others, we've helped to educate 3.6 million girls, a gift they will pass on to their daughters as well as their sons.
Over in the US, Hurricane Ida has made landfall in Louisiana 16 years to the day that Katrina hit New Orleans. It's a Category 4 storm, the second strongest classification there is. Governor John Bell Edwards is concerned a tidal surge could overwhelm flood defences.
We have lesser systems of protection built along the coast where the levees aren't as high and they're not as fortified. And we're very concerned there, and this will be a tremendous test of those systems. And quite frankly, it's going to be the strongest test that we've had yet.
We're going to have more in depth on that after 7 o'clock. You'll hear from some locals and some people and how they got prepared for the day. The timing of it being on the anniversary of Katrina is bizarre. You know what's frightening? All the indications are it's much stronger. Much stronger. That said, and we'll play a grab from the governor again after 7, he explains it's a different place.
Yeah.
It's not this. They're not. It's the same area, but the storm's not attacking the same city.
Yeah, well, that's right. The strength, because there's been stronger hurricanes than Katrina.
Yeah.
The problem was exactly where it hit and what came after the hurricane, because it was the backwash of water coming out of the huge lake to the north of New Orleans, Lake Pontchartrain, that just overwhelmed the levees. But
so how long after Katrina were you there? 10 years?
No. The first time I went there was 4 years ago.
Oh, so it was 12 years after.
Yeah.
But so presumably
I've been there twice.
Had the new levees and because they showed. I showed a bit this morning of the new walls they'd built and things to hold back the tide.
Yeah, they built them higher and they reinforced part of them, but it still feels like a triumph of hope over engineering.
Yep.
Like there's a photo of Dad and I, because we went and did this tour run by one of the journalists from the paper there, explaining Katrina and how it happened, where they take you to all the levees that breached. And it's weird because you were standing there 4 or 5 metres below water level, looking up at a concrete wall that's basically holding Lake Pontchartrain back.
Gee.
And there's suburban houses. They're built below sea level. These are the houses where entire suburbs were washed away. But there's all these photos that are incredible of like my dad standing there pointing at like this new section of levee. Levee's just like a concrete channel, basically. Where there's like a stretch that's probably 50 metres long that's a slightly different colour from the rest of it. And the guy said, see all that different coloured concrete? That's the new bit.
Oh, wow.
The old bit is what meant suburbs like the lower Ninth Ward just became a bathtub.
Gee.
It's staggering. Like houses were lifted up and found like entire suburbs away. It's just crazy.
There is already localised flooding, but it's the expected flooding as a result of the storm. Police were called out to a host of things overnight, including there was some fires that were related to the hurricane, and there was a nude man walking around downtown New Orleans, just randomly.
Well, it's probably not necessarily that
the
novel.
streets are abandoned, and he just went for a walk.
You know, one of the big things, and this is where discussion about climate change becomes a lot more pressing in places like this. So much of it is the ferocity of the hurricanes. There is evidence that they are becoming hotter because of the seawater temperature in the Gulf of Mexico is becoming hotter, and that's what makes them powerful.
Yeah. Let's have a look at what's happening in South Australia. Local health authorities are keeping a close eye on regional parts of the state after a COVID scare. 2 New South Wales truckies with the virus drove through South Australia twice in the past week. Originally believed it was just once. It turns out it's twice. Exposure sites have been identified in Port Augusta, Ceduna, and close by, leading to things like sporting clubs and sporting contests being put off over the weekend. We're going to catch up with someone from a football club just west of Ceduna a little bit later this morning, and also the Mayor of Port Augusta. 39 close contacts have been identified. Voter support for the federal coalition has fallen to its lowest level since 2019, but support for Scott Morrison has improved. Work that out. News poll shows the coalition primary vote falling 3 points to 36%. That's the danger zone. At the same time, support for Labor lifted a point to 40%. On a two-party preferred split, Labor leads the coalition 54 to 46.
Interesting that ScoMo's recovered.
Yeah. Well, perhaps it's a sign that the messaging around, hey, I'm trying to get the states in a line, I'm trying to tell them what to do, is kind of working.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's probably a bit of a sympathy factor where people are looking at him and, looking at Berejiklian and astonishing leaking against him over the weekend by Hercam. Did you see that piece in the Sydney Morning Herald?
Yeah.
And then, there's old Dan Andrews yesterday, said the spring's gone off in his brain, started making this tangential rant at his press conference about no one's going on any picnics. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's like Nurse Ratchet.
It's so unbecoming, the tit-for-tat crap in those press conferences.
It's just pathetic, isn't it?
Is.
Two big estates clearly being run by, McGowan's sort of bit of a comical Ali sideshow over there with his pronouncements about, no one will enter. But Berejiklian and Andrews, ego-driven, swinging contest between them about who's doing it best.
There was a brief, nice is the wrong turn of phrase, but there was a brief moment in this whole COVID business last year where it felt like politics was irrelevant, and now it just feels like those sorts of people who divine every decision in their life by how it suits their politics or how it reflects on them or their political enemies, it feels like that has totally re-emerged. And it's the dominant strain of debate. And I just think most normal people go, oh, shut up and get a life.
Yeah, imagine if you're in Melbourne, locked in your house for week 5, going, when are we getting out of this? It's clearly not this week because he's extended it again. Listen to the Premier just sort of obsessing about what Berejiklian's doing.
Yeah. Let's just do the headlines for the weather this week, because the headlines are something. 20 today, 20 tomorrow, 26 Wednesday, 29 on Thursday, and then 15 mils of rain Friday. 25 after 6.
Oscar, Penny, Hercules. Puppies! Horatio!
If dogs are a part of your family, you'll want to keep your family protected.
Jasmine! Jenny! Harley!
Simparica Trio gives dogs fast and effective protection from fleas and ticks, deadly heartworm and intestinal worms. A simple monthly chew that keeps your dog safe from deadly parasites inside and out.
Who wants to go for a walk?
So if you're a dog person, you'll want Simparica Trio. Protection from fleas, ticks, intestinal worms and heartworm.
Diane is leaving a gift in her will to the Salvation Army. She was once helped by the Salvos at a crucial time in her life, and this changed her life forever.
It's my chance to support the Salvos so they can continue their great work. I believe in their capacity to help transform lives.
You can transform many lives by leaving a gift in your will. Visit salvationarmy.org.au/wills.
For over 2 decades, Avanti Care have delivered care with purpose to thousands of South Australians, and it's no surprise this passion has made Avanti Care Adelaide's leading provider of holistic allied healthcare and wellbeing services.
Now, look, it doesn't matter if you require physio treatment, occupational therapy, speech pathology, dietetics or podiatry, Avanti Care is care delivered with purpose.
And recently they opened the new Wellbeing Hub on Fullerton Road, Kent Town. Delivers a full range of allied healthcare services in one location for adults of any age.
Whether it's getting you back to work, helping you enjoy an active life with friends or family, or simply just getting you back to being you, Avanti Care is real care delivered with real purpose.
Avanti Care are also bringing us healthcare heroes this year, shining a light on heroes that work for the health and wellbeing of others. Visit avanticare.com.au.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of your weekly shop with great fresh offers. Like in-season Aussie strawberries, 2 50-gram punnets, just $1.40 each. Helping lower the cost of your weekly shop. Coles. Value the Australian way. Offer ends Thursday.
Hi, Malcolm Blight here. You'll love the way they do business at Knowles Caravans. With 4.5 decades of experience, Knowles is proud to present their exclusive range of Island Star caravans. Visit their beautifully presented yard and inspect their luxury range of 5-star caravans. That is why it's a household name. Go with the people you can trust. 561 Salisbury Highway, Greenfields, opposite Mawson Lakes.
Knowles Caravans, Knowles Caravans, Knowles Caravans, Knowles Caravans.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 minutes after 6, Tom Wrench just wandered into the studio. Toyota Land Cruiser 300 Series will bring us Rennie later. Right now, Tom Wren joins us. Win a $3 million grand prize on South Brighton Esplanade with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will. Morning, David. Winners and losers for the weekend, fellas. We'll get straight into it. Let's start Friday night. No bigger winner than, I think, Port Adelaide. They were emphatic. They were brilliant. And our man, Orazio Fantasia, was just wonderful.
Oh, is he going to be okay, though?
Well, this is the thing. So we'll find out more today. Look, I hope, fingers crossed, he is okay. It was just a precautionary thing. But because of the history he's had, you're worried. But that's why when Port, if they can keep their best side together, and he's a big part of that, gee, they're dangerous. They're now into premiership favourite. They deserve to be. So it's all there for them. 2 games to go. Great win.
Amazing.
They were so good. I was really impressed.
So what's Fantasia done to himself?
Just a sore knee.
Yeah, right. He came off at the end.
Yeah, I saw him coming off.
Didn't look great, did it?
No. Well, his reaction, the concerning thing was him talking to the trainer, and he sort of said he was shaking his head. And anyway, let's hope he's okay.
Exactly, and he's got the extra week, so let's hope that gives him a bit of time. This was a great story. Overnight, Izzy Vincent, 15-year-old from Pembroke, silver medal at the Paralympics.
Excellent.
Women's 4x100 metre freestyle. So she's a big winner for me from the weekend. That's awesome. A great result. And the other big winner overseas, I reckon this is a really good story. We thought he was going to go to Manchester City. I think we spoke about it Friday. But Cristiano Ronaldo ends up going back home, if you like, to Manchester United. I think it's really good for the competition and for the Red Devils.
Good for the romance of the rivalry between the Manchester sides too.
I think so.
He had former players ringing him up going, listen, you can't do this. You can't go come back and play for Manchester City. And clearly whatever they said to him worked.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I'm coming back.
It's really good. 36, but still playing some great stuff. Losers, just quickly, while we're on the soccer, Ange Postecoglou and Celtic, they went down to their bitter rivals, the Old Firm rivalry with Rangers 1-0. So disappointing result overnight there.
Not if you're Andy Rusgar.
He's very happy.
Very happy.
Very happy with that result. Toby Green, I've defended him many times. I thought he was stiff a couple of times this season, but I think it was avoidable, that contact with the umpire.
Toby Green, I find him. I don't know why so many journos defend him, Tom. You guys, you'll love him. What's the go?
I just think sometimes he's targeted, but this time I think he's got to go. I think it was
100%.
clearly avoidable, so I reckon he's in real trouble.
He's such a cocky little bloke, isn't he? The way he walks with he's always got his head right back, and and he does these stupid things and doesn't recognise how stupid they are, and how he should actually get rubbed out for his conduct at the press conference afterwards. It was like, I didn't even realise what was going on. Yeah, right, mate.
And we're
completely stupid.
We probably defend him because he's such a good player, and maybe we look through the rose-coloured glasses.
I think he gets rightly defended because there are guys with golden hair in the AFL, and because Toby Green's from the rough side of the tracks, he doesn't speak that well, and he is a bit cocky. He never gets the benefit of the doubt. But there are guys, if they're on the posters, we know they get treated totally differently by the AFL.
Yeah. I don't know. He's kicked blokes in the past, and people go, that's just one of those things that happens, a bit of an accident. I don't know.
I don't know about that. I think he's done wrong things, but there's been plenty of times he's not got the benefit of the doubt. Well, I don't know how many. There's some golden hair guys have some pretty discouraging eye gouging videos out there. They wouldn't. They're legends. They're ball players.
Yeah. It's an interesting discussion. And just finally, last loser, Jamie Carr, unfortunately. She's been the face of Victorian racing, Australian racing, really. She was caught up in this scandal with several other jockeys. They've been suspended for several months, and it's murky, it's messy. But she's missed out on 4 big wins on the weekend. Probably going to cost herself $500,000 over the next few months that she could have had. And the other jockeys, too, with big rides. So not good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, guys.
You can win millions with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Visit homelottery.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny and 20 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
US military officials say a drone strike in Afghanistan has stopped another attack at Kabul airport. Nine's Amelia Adams reports.
America's unmanned airstrike hit a vehicle near Kabul airport carrying ISIS-K operatives and explosives, eliminating the threat, the Pentagon says, of another terror attack. It came as the US president met with families of the 13 service members killed in last week's suicide bomb blast at the airfield. Their bodies returning from Kabul this morning, transferred onto American soil as the president, First Lady and military chiefs watched on. A solemn ceremony honouring those killed while helping others to flee the Taliban.
It's a case of deja vu for New Orleans. 16 years to the day that Hurricane Katrina hit, residents are bracing for the bigger and more powerful Ida. The storm made landfall as a Category 4. A reminder to use the QR codes at every location we visit. It comes as health authorities deal with a COVID scare linked to a couple of interstate truck drivers. 39 people are in quarantine after being identified as close contacts who passed through SA twice in the space of a week. They've now tested positive, those truck drivers, for COVID in WA. The truckies visited several petrol stations at Port Augusta, Ceduna and Nundroo. The Minister in charge of the National Disability Insurance Scheme says costs are increasing faster than expected and the rises are becoming unsustainable. But disability advocates say the federal government's focus on costs ignores the benefits of the scheme and is taking a toll on the community. A new study warns state governments are struggling to keep up with demand for social housing. Nine's Meg van Lohausen has more.
Data shows social housing supply is expected to fall short by almost 200,000 homes by 2031. A report by Compass Housing Services found the system is unable to cope with the current waitlist of 170,000 people. Over the next decade, the states and territories are planning to build just 66,000 social housing properties, which will fall short of the existing level of demand by more than 100,000 homes. Advocates say the federal government needs to intervene.
Climate change will be a key issue for Australian voters at the next federal election. The study by YouGov has found global warming is the most important issue for a third of metropolitan voters and a quarter of people from rural electorates. Conservation Foundation Chief Executive Officer Kelly O'Shannessy says it is a concern Australia-wide.
The polling really shatters the myth that there's a difference between the city and the country when it comes to climate action. It doesn't matter where you live in Australia. Australians want our government to do a lot more when it comes to climate change.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
You could win millions with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Visit homelottery.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. 6 teams remain in the hunt for the 2021 AFL Premiership, including Port Adelaide, who will enjoy the week off. Nine's Jordan Tunbridge reports.
Port Adelaide and Melbourne have earned a week off, the top two sides comfortably winning their qualifying finals against Geelong and Brisbane respectively. The Cats get a second chance against GWS in Perth, although the Giants could be without their best player. Toby Green sent directly to the AFL Tribunal for making contact with an umpire. Meantime, Jeremy Cameron will face his former side for the first time since his high-profile trade. In the other semi, the Lions host the Bulldogs at the Gabba, attempting to make a prelim for the second consecutive year. Tough decisions to be made at selection for the Dogs, with experienced trio Zane Cordy, Jason Johannesson and Steph Martin pushing for a recall. Essendon and Sydney have both been eliminated.
Well, heavy rain has restricted racing to just 2 laps at the Formula 1 Belgian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen won the race. Daniel Ricciardo has recorded his best result for McLaren. He came 4th. Australia has won 1 gold, 6 silver and 2 bronze medals on day 5 of the Paralympics in Tokyo. Tottenham's fast start to the English Premier League season's continued after recording a 1-0 win against Watford. Manchester United also 1-0 winners over Wolverhampton. And Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Cantlay share the lead at 27 under with 4 holes to play at the BMW Championship in Maryland. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
Top of 20 today, mostly sunny, partly cloudy tomorrow 20, then Wednesday mostly sunny and 26. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 7. Text coming through on the Telstra Storm Outback text line. Josh says, morning men. Change of season. Evidence at my place by my wife and daughters putting the heater on full time at the first sign of cold, and then me putting on the air conditioner flat out the moment it's above 23 degrees. Yes. Sounds like an expensive household, Josh. Russell in Gawler says the season's changed for sure when my backyard hens decide to lay in time for breakfast.
Oh, nice.
We're asking you this morning, how do you know the season's changed at your place? Because the weather is very much changing this week. Jake on Facebook, watching on the live stream, says my ex-partner and I were in New Orleans 1 week before Hurricane Katrina hit. Beautiful place then. The nightlife was wicked. Best blues bands. You speak in your language, David.
Oh, don't get me started. Everything that is epitomised by the coronavirus, like a city like New Orleans, is the ultimate expression of how good life is lived as a public citizen. Eating out, standing around in great bars, having a cocktail, big groups gathering in public, and live music. All the things that COVID has put a line through. Just the most laid-back city. Its motto, I can't speak French. Lisa's going to kill me for even trying to say this. What is it? Allez les bons temps rolleurs. Let the good times roll.
Oh, she visibly cringed.
I know, it's terrible.
She looked like you actually hurt her in some way.
I'm sorry, Luce.
Physically pained. All right, Lucy's coming into it properly.
Please say it properly, Luce. How do you say allez les bons temps rolleurs?
Allez les bons temps rollés.
Yeah, I mean,
très bien.
Indiscernible.
I actually didn't understand what you said at first. I was like, what is that?
Say it again.
Allez les bons temps rollés.
Allez les bons temps rollés.
Close enough.
Is that all right?
That was better. Way better.
Yeah.
Good work.
Got a bit of practice to do there.
Thank you, Lucy.
I hope that someone gets my message in a bottle.
T.A. Wilkes was hoping someone got his message in a bottle. I assume it's a he, I'm not 100% sure. Threw it overboard back in 1938 with a simple note. Any person finding this bottle, please return this note to T.A. Wilkes. Rottnest Island, West Australia. Who will reward them? Thank you. Very polite. Nice idea. Don't know if he's going to be in any position to reward anyone because it's just washed up in Ceduna 83 years later over the weekend. It was found without any real clue as to why it was ever thrown overboard with the message inside. The
Rottnest Island.
Yeah, he was from
where the quokkas are.
But here's the thing: it was thrown overboard not far from Ceduna, so they're saying the bottle didn't travel that far. It just took a long time to wash up.
Why did he say Rottnest Island?
Well, that's obviously where he lived, so he was going to be going back there at some point in time. I was just intrigued to see who would find his note. I guess he
was some sort of attention-seeking idiot, doesn't he?
Well. Usually when this happens, there was a heap of them, and some washed up in Western Australia a few years back. They were from experiments by German scientists who were back in 100 years ago trying to work out where tides went.
Yeah, sure.
So they released hundreds of these bottles with messages, and they would say in German or various languages, "Please return to this place." And the idea was they'd collate all this info, but I guess they didn't realise it might take 100 years for him to come back. This guy sounds like he just had nothing better to do.
Yeah, that's right. Bit of a troublemaker.
Yeah. Well, quite possibly.
Has anyone ever been successfully rescued by putting a message in a bottle? It seems to be in all the great sort of sweep of human history, all the great inventions, message in a bottle seems to be down there sort of in reward for effort.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, look, if using this as a test case, you'd like to think he was no older than 12 when he released that message in the bottle, if he was needing to be rescued from Rottnest Island.
Yes.
Who's probably seen a bit of development in that time, the old Rottnest Island.
There'll be people all over Western Australia putting messages in bottles soon because they won't be able to get out.
It'll be the only way to get a message out.
That's right.
Anything in or out.
Mark McGowan enters his 12th successive term in power after suspending elections.
I've never found anything that exciting washed up at the beach. I was walking along there a week ago, walking on the beach at between Henley and Grange, and a lady was walking the other direction. She said, "Come and have a look at this." And it looked like the gizzards or insides of what was once a really large fish that were washed up there. But
really?
It was
whereabouts?
That was just Henley and Grange. It was washed up on the beach. We would look. She said, "Come and have a look at this thing. I've never seen anything like it." And I went over, and it was the insides of something huge. It was quite large, obviously. But I've never found anything exciting as a bottle.
It's like the opening scene in Jaws where they find that giant whale carcass. Or is that Jaws 2? Can't remember. I think it's Jaws 2.
I'm not sure if anyone else has found any missives from T.A. Wilkes, but if you found something interesting on the wash up on the beach, let us know. 8223 text us on the Telstra Storm Outback text line. Let's check traffic. The team at Dave Potter, they are now Glenelg BMW. They're opening on Wednesday, and they'll be Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
Good morning. At Eastwood, got a burst water main, Glen Osmond Road near Young Street. Left-hand lane closed, speeds at 40. Crave is on the freeway down track. Right lane closed, speeds at 60 for work. Seeing some traffic building there already this morning. Leave early if you are heading that way. And look out for cameras on the drive-in. Dawes Road, St Mary's, Fisher Street, Malvern, and Grand Junction Road at Gillis Plains. What's for lunch? How about a burrito or bowl from Guzmani Gomez for just $9.90? Choose from delicious pulled pork, grilled chicken, slow-cooked beef and more. Just $9.90 at GYG. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Palmitoyl ethanolamide. It's a word almost as long as the alphabet, but you don't need to know how to pronounce it, just that it helps minimise the effect of chronic pain. At Green Dispensary, they call it PEA for short, or P. P is a natural fatty acid our body produces to combat pain and inflammation. Sometimes the body doesn't produce enough. At Green Dispensary, you'll find a P supplement that may help you produce more and ease pain. Green Dispensary, 4 locations over Adelaide.
Check out this hot weekend getaway to Uluru from NT Now. Private jet charter, flying Adelaide to Uluru direct. Accommodation with daily breakfast, fully hosted. 3 days and 2 nights touring around Uluru. And a stack of other memorable experiences. Uluru by private jet, departing Friday, October 22. Hurry, it's selling fast. Seats are limited from just $2,269 per person. Search NT Now or book online at ntnow.com.au.
G'day, Tom Wren here. Greyhounds love to run, and Greyhound fans love Thursday nights at Angle Park. For top greyhound racing, a great family atmosphere and the amazing food, Chase's Restaurant is offering a full a la carte menu to ensure you have a fantastic night out. Chips, wedges and toasties, through to classics like burgers, fish and chips, schnitties and steaks. Yum! Grab the whole family and get to the park to watch those dogs go. Every Thursday night at Angle Park Greyhounds.
Care Alert, a brilliant product brought to us by a fantastic South Australian company. Care Alert will come to the rescue should any issue happen to you while home alone. Now, for a short period only, you can have your very own Care Alert for just $399, and that will include 12 months professional monitoring. This is a $699 package, but it's been reduced to just $399. This offer is only available over the phone. Call Care Alert now, 1300 75 85 95.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Don't miss Olympic Industries whatever the weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
40 minutes to 7. Let's check in with SAPOL. Senior Constable Matt Brown's on the line. Morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, we're well. You've arrested a couple of people after a break-in and stolen car at Clearview. What happened?
That's right. Well, just before 9:30pm last night, a home was broken into on Turner Avenue, and the victim's white Nissan Pulsar was stolen. Now, the occupant was home at the time. However, she wasn't confronted by the suspects, but heard her front screen door close and the car being driven away. About an hour later, a resident in Norma Street at Mile End phoned police to advise he'd seen a white Nissan Pulsar at the end of his driveway. An occupant of the car ran towards the front door of the home, and the occupant was in his car parked in the driveway and disturbed the man, who ran back into the passenger seat. The Nissan was seen heading west, and Western District Patrols quickly set up cordons with the assistance of Star Group officers. After a short time, located the stolen car in Bagot Avenue, and 2 people were seen walking away from the car, and both were arrested without incident. So a 15-year-old boy from Parafield Gardens and a 30-year-old man of no fixed address were charged with illegal use of a motor vehicle. The teenager was granted bail to appear in the Adelaide Youth Court on the 30th of September. The man was refused bail and will appear in court today. So some good work all around there.
Matt, also there was another break-in at Mile End where the thief fled on foot.
That's right, David. All happening at Mile End last night.
Yeah.
About 1:30am, police were called to a house in Rankin Road after reports that a man had forced his way into the property and stole the victim's pink Mimco purse. He was confronted by the victim, and he then got into her car after stealing her keys. He attempted to drive off, but crashed into a fence and then jumped out of the car and was last seen running north on Rankin Road. Now, the victim wasn't injured, and the suspect's described as having a dark complexion, was wearing a black baseball cap with a white logo on the front and black clothing. So anyone who may have witnessed suspicious activity in the area is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Good stuff. Thank you for that, Matt. Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL. Now, the headliner this morning, Brett Gage, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. Morning to you, Brett.
Morning, Dave and Will.
I don't think we've been this excited about a week of weather for a long, long time, Brett. So take us through it in agonising detail, please.
No worries. Well, today's pretty straightforward, just mostly sunny. Currently it's 9.5 degrees in the city and heading for a top of 20. And out on the waters today we've got northerlies at 10 to 15 knots, reaching 15 to 20 knots south of Brighton. So seas are around a metre today. Pretty similar for tomorrow, a minimum of 11 and a top of 20. Just a slight chance of a shower about the southern suburbs. We've got a weak front moving across the south of the state, but won't be very much in it. And then after that front, we go back into a northerly airstream and really starts to warm up. Top of 26 degrees expected for Wednesday, mostly sunny. Thursday, 29 and mostly sunny, and that's around about an equal record for this time of the year, the first week in September. So, it's about as hot as it gets. But then we've got a cold front coming through on the Friday, and a big drop in temperature expected. A top of just 18 degrees, a very high chance of showers and the chance of a thunderstorm. 5 to 15 millimetres expected there on the Friday. And then behind that front, much cooler. Tops are just 15 for Saturday and Sunday, with a shower or two on both days.
Beautiful. Good on you, Brett. Thank you for that. Brett Gage from the Weather Bureau on what is going to be just an absolutely magnificent week, at least until Friday, when things are going to take a turn for the wetter. Hey, what do you reckon the luckiest name is in Australia?
Luckiest
how
name.
would you think we determine what the luckiest name is? The people.
What's the criteria?
Well, the criteria for
Is it people have won lotto the most?
Yeah, there you go. You've got it in one.
Oh, okay.
The players who are the most frequent lotto winners by first name. Care to hazard a guess?
I think it'd be a really common name because I think statistically,
I think that might be all this is showing. But
less to this than meets the eye.
Don't demystify it too quickly, David. Let's have some fun with it first, please.
It's not Quentin, is it?
No, it's certainly not Quentin.
Because there's not too many people called
Although
Quentin.
I think this is a little bit surprising.
Benedict. It's not Benedict.
No, it's not Benedict.
I reckon it's John.
It's not John. It's not John. It is the number one for women is Jennifer. Which I actually think is a little bit surprising. Jennifer is 1.
It's a reasonably common name, Jennifer.
Karen is 2.
Karen.
Karen's copper, really.
Good to see a Karen being referenced for the good.
Yeah, that's right.
Given the tough year Karen.
Reclaim Karen.
Yeah, I agree. I actually hate that term, Karen.
Yeah. Maria, 3rd.
Yeah,
Maria, that's
Maria.
the top 3. For blokes.
It'd be pretty big in Mexico because every single girl I know in Mexico is called Maria. They all are. They're called Maria Elena, Maria Luz, Maria Sol, Maria.
So this wouldn't be very interesting to do in Mexico then.
Right.
For men, the most frequent lotto winners, Peter. Peter is the most.
Yeah, right.
Michael and David. Yeah, which is, kind of fits the bill for most common names in Australia.
Everyone I know from 1969 is called David. I've got so many mates called David, it's absurd.
According to forebears.com, a website that tracks incidents of names in countries, here in Australia, there's a David. 1 in every 52 people is a David.
But they'd be older. I reckon they'd be like me. I don't think there's too many young Davids these days.
David, John, Peter.
William would be up there, wouldn't it?
William's in 31st position. 1 in every 227 people.
Really? What's the most common?
Michael.
Oh, Michael.
David. David is.
Is it really?
David over John, and then Peter, which really totally explains the lucky factor and the lotto stat, doesn't it? 8 minutes to 7. We're off to the US in just a moment.
Oh no, that's the last thing you want to hear. Termites chewing their way through your home. At Murray's, we've been dealing with termites for over 60 years and we've got you covered. So call now or book online for 20% off a visual termite inspection. murraypestcontrol.com.au.
No worries with the team from Murray's. It's easy to remember QBE for CTP.
Yeah, QBE for CTP.
But we've made it even easier.
How? QBE for CTP is easy as.
You could get a $25 e-gift card when you...
Pick QBE for CTP. Awesome.
Go to qbe4ctp.com.au to get your $25 e-gift card. Easy. QBE, there for you before and after.
Offer ends November 30. Terms apply, like 12-month car rego, selected premium classes only. Insurance issued by QBE Insurance Australia Limited.
Healthy head of hair, healthy muscles and eyes, healthy teeth and gums. Sounds like a dream. Well, Nutrimate has your furry friends covered from teeth to tail with their premium dog rolls. Get into Foodland, Drake's or IGA for the Nutrimate dog roll that does it all.
What about this stuff? They've now added thiamine and taurine for the healthiest muscles and eyes. And to keep your dog's coats beautiful, there's even added omega-3.
This is the kind of thing that a Facebook page will be saying cures COVID soon. For all your dog's nutritional needs. These rolls are up to scratch with the international dog food standards for nutrition for all the stages of your dog's lives.
Absolutely. Thiamine, taurine, omega-3. What more do you want? And how about the flavours? Beef, lamb or chicken to make the pups drool. And this is great because, best of all, you're backing Aussie business. 100% Aussie made and owned. And the high-quality ingredients to keep your best mates healthy with their tails wagging. Don't forget to get into Foodland, Drake's or IGA for the Nutrimate dog roll that does it all.
Remember service? Your Ford dealer does. Which is why, when you buy a Ford, your scheduled service on most vehicles will only cost $299. Get more with Ford. Speak to a dealer today. T's and C's apply. See Ford.com.au for details.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 to 7, off to the US. David Woyward for 7 News joins us. David, good morning to you, mate. We spent a bit of time talking about Hurricane Ida earlier. What's the latest you're hearing about how things are bearing up in New Orleans?
Yeah, it's looking pretty grim there at the moment. She's bearing down on Louisiana. Category 4 storm is just about to make landfall. Part of it has made landfall. And, it's really starting to batter that Gulf of Mexico region along there. And we've seen huge storm surges already. We've seen, intense winds up to 300 kilometres an hour. So it's absolutely battering that region. Over the past few days, residents have been fleeing. They've essentially been told that they have to get out now, that it is going to be that dangerous. And, of course, it's all happening today. It is the 16th anniversary as well of Hurricane Katrina. So a bit of a symmetry there. We don't know if the outcome will be the same. Obviously, a lot of measures after Hurricane Katrina were actually put in place, but certainly this is shaping up to be a really bad one. And the pictures that are coming through at the moment are quite intense.
David, also 24 hours to go until the US fully withdraws from Afghanistan. Joe Biden has spoken again, paying tribute to the fallen Marines from last week's terror attack.
Yes, so we've had the bodies of these 13 servicemen and women actually arrive back in the United States today, and they had a ceremony of sorts. It's called a dignified transfer, and some family members have turned up for that. And we've had those 13 coffins being taken off those US aircrafts, draped in the American flags, and they pass by the President, the First Lady, a number of other top brass are there as well to witnesses. So quite a heartbreaking day, a difficult day again for America. These were the 13 that were killed in that suicide bomb blast out the front of the gates of Hamid Karzai International Airport last Thursday. But as you say, it happened just on the eve, really, of the United States officially pulling out. That is Tuesday, the 31st in Afghanistan will be the final day, unless the United States does happen to change that, but they've given no indication that that will happen. And look, overnight, just showing that there's still plenty of fight left in this war. We've had the United States launch another drone strike on ISIS-K operatives in Kabul. The strike reportedly took out a number of suicide bombers in a vehicle stacked with explosives. That's what we're hearing from intelligence agents at the moment. Look, the militants, they say, were planning to drive the vehicle to the airport gates, but US media at the moment is also reporting that 9 members of one Afghan family, including 6 children, were actually caught up in the attack. We're waiting for further confirmation on that from the Pentagon, and hopefully we'll get that today. But this conflict far from over still, although, just hours to go. Another brutal chapter, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good on you, David.
Thanks,
David Woyward
David.
for 7 News in the US. Text coming in from some of our more luckily named listeners. One reads, "Fair suck of the Cheezel, boys. Nothing common about the name Michael. Means godlike. Cheers, M." Which I'm going to hazard a guess, David, might stand for Michael.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Karen says, "Woohoo! It's great to hear something good for all us Karens out there. I'm going to buy a cross lotto ticket this week." Well, we hope you win, Karen, because Karens need their time in the sun.
They do.
You've been wearing it for a whole bunch of really unpleasant people for too long. Speaking of unpleasant people, Billy the Kid, the gun that killed Billy the Kid, went to auction over the weekend. Became the single most expensive firearm ever bought. $6 million. It was bought for $6.03 million to be exact. Colt single-action revolver. They thought it was going to get about $3 million. Ended up going for $6 million. It surpassed the record for a firearm, which is $1.98 million, set by a pair of pistols carried by George Washington during the Revolutionary War.
You're kidding me.
You read the rap sheet on Billy the Kid. There's a weird thing that happened in the world, and the way popular culture had a look at the Wild West. Because this is one of the worst human beings you could ever imagine. But they get celebrated in a bizarre way. The outlaws of the Wild West. We do it with Ned Kelly.
Yeah,
we do it with Ned. It's sort of
the man who shot a police officer.
Because
fated as some sort of rebel.
But I don't even think there's much precedent before that period, before the sort of frontier lands of the Wild West, to use that all-encompassing term.
Bonnie and Clyde are the ones that get me. I know, just a pair of brutal scumbags. But, Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, very well-made film, I would add.
Yeah, they tend to make good films. Maybe that's why we tend to like them. So Henry McCarty, Billy the Kid was born Henry McCarty, He died at just the age of 21, hence being the kid. It was basically a 6-year crime spree in which he started out, obviously he was poor and he started stealing for food. Then he thought rolling Chinese laundry was a good way to make money. Then he just randomly started killing people. Joined a group in the Lincoln County War, killed 3 people there, killed a blacksmith. There was a dispute in. Joined another group of brigands and was killing people there.
Brigands and ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah, that's right. I used the term brigands there. That's not in the
Did
official...
you really use it?
I did.
Good on you for using that term. Brigands.
I just was reading through this going, yeah, Billy the Kid sucked. This is not a good person.
But at least this gun that, in the gun crazy America, probably not that surprising that it fetched so much money, but at least it was the gun that killed him.
That's right. It wasn't his gun.
Yeah, well,
I'm guessing he's going to go for twice as much.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, it's 5AA news time. Coming up after 7 o'clock, we'll take you to New Orleans and hear from some of the people on the ground there who are bracing for what, at least according to the measurements of storm, will be a worse storm than Hurricane Katrina.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny and 20 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A Mile End resident confronted an intruder in the early hours of this morning. It happened on Rankin Road around 1:30. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the suspect stole a purse and then took her keys.
He was confronted by the victim and he then got into her car after stealing her keys. He attempted to drive off but crashed into a fence and then jumped out of the car and was last seen running north on Rankin Road.
The suspect is described as having a dark complexion, wearing a baseball cap and black clothing. The victim wasn't injured. Last night, a man and a teenager were arrested after a break-in on Turner Avenue at Clearview, which also resulted in a car being taken. The stolen Pulsar was located at Mile End. A 15-year-old boy from Parafield Gardens and a 30-year-old of no fixed address will front court today. Health authorities are keeping a close eye on regional parts of the state after a COVID scare. 2 New South Wales truckies with the virus drove through South Australia twice in the past week. There are exposure sites in Port Augusta, Ceduna and Nundroo. 39 close contacts have been identified. US military officials say a drone strike has prevented another deadly suicide attack in Afghanistan. The United States had warned of another potential bombing targeting Kabul airport. The last military planes, meantime, carrying British troops and diplomats from Afghanistan, have landed back in the UK, ending Britain's 20-year military involvement. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has this warning for the Taliban.
If the new regime in Kabul wants diplomatic recognition, they will have to ensure safe passage for those who wish to leave the country, to respect the rights of women and girls, to prevent Afghanistan from again becoming an incubator for global terror.
Hurricane Ida has made landfall in the US state of Louisiana. It's a Category 4, the second strongest classification. Governor John Bell Edwards is concerned a tidal surge could overwhelm flood defences.
We have lesser systems of protection built along the coast where the levees aren't as high and they're not as fortified. And we're very concerned there, and this will be a tremendous test of those systems. And quite frankly, it's going to be the strongest test that we've had yet.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Win a $3 million grand prize on South Brighton Esplanade with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
What's happening at Alberton, Tom Wren?
Well, Port Adelaide's players, Mel, they're going to enjoy a pretty quiet day and week as they start looking ahead to their preliminary final in a couple of weeks' time. Much attention will centre on the fitness of forward Orazio Fantasia after he was subbed out late in the game with a knee injury. The Power will play the winner of Brisbane and the Bulldogs, who play in the semi-final. That's being played at the Gabba on Saturday. Ange Postecoglou's Celtic have suffered a 1-0 loss in the Old Firm Derby against bitter rivals Rangers. The winner coming midway through the second half.
Barisic to float it in.
Yeah, chaotic scenes there. Plenty of action elsewhere overseas. Tottenham making it 3 from 3 in the EPL with a 1-0 win against Watford, while Manchester United enjoyed a 1-0 win over Wolverhampton. Brentford and Leeds played out a 1-1 draw. Max Verstappen has closed the gap on championship leader Lewis Hamilton after winning a rain-affected Belgian Grand Prix overnight. Hamilton was third, while Aussie Daniel Ricciardo came fourth. Americans Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Cantlay are locked in a tense battle to take out the BMW Championship in Maryland. Both are 27 under, with a few holes to play. Cam Davis was the best of the Aussies way back at 12 under. And Madison de Rosario has won Australia's 8th gold medal at the Paralympics in Tokyo, winning the women's T53 800 metres. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
The team at Dave Potter are now Glenelg BMW, opening this Wednesday, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
Good morning. At Eastwood, got a burst water main, Glen Osmond Road near Young Street. Left-hand lane closed, city bound. Speeds at 40 k's. Crayford is on the freeway at Dantrack, right lane closed. Speeds at 60 for work. Seeing some traffic building there already this morning. Leave early if you're heading that way. And Northfield, expect delays, Grand Junction Road near Hampstead Road for works. Both directions affected, speeds at 40. Cameras, Bradley Grove, Mitchell Park and Dawes Road at St Mary's. Oz Design Furniture sale has been extended. Save up to 50% off a huge range of furniture and homewares. Hurry, sale must end midnight tonight at Oz Design Furniture. T&C Supply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
Mostly sunny and 20 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 20, Wednesday mostly sunny and 26 degrees. Right now it's 10, more news as it happens on 5AA.
Don't miss Olympic Industries whatever the weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 minutes after 7, the sun is up. It feels appropriate starting a Monday with a nice sunny, warm start. It's going to be 20 today, but geez, as you've just heard from Mel Usher, it only gets better through till Thursday, which is going to be seriously warm. Magnificent week on the way. The weather, not so much a good story if you live in the southern part of the United States. Louisiana and New Orleans, most specifically. Hurricane Ida has started to make landfall on the 16-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina hitting the area, killing some 1,800 people. Left more than $100 billion worth of damage. $100 billion worth of damage. That was Category 3. But as you've explained, David explained really well earlier, having been there and been through the area, there was a confluence of things that led to that disaster. This storm, just as far as measuring storms go, is bigger. This is a Category 4. And there it is, you might imagine, a combination of people who have left the city, been told to leave, and those that are going to stay and fight it out. And for them, there's been messages coming from every level of government.
Above all, I'm urging the people of the area to pay attention and be prepared. I want to say it again, pay attention and be prepared. Have supplies for your household on hand. Follow the guidance from local authorities.
Governor John Bell Edwards has made the point that it might be hitting the same area, but it's a different town.
It is very painful to think about another powerful storm like Hurricane Ida making landfall on that anniversary. But every storm is different. They all bring their own challenges. But I also want you to know that we're not the same state that we were 16 years ago.
A lot of money's been invested in the levees and things that hold the river at bay. Some of it is extraordinary feats of engineering, but this is now the time it's going to be tested, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Here's a local resident who was stopped at a service station, filling up his truck with his thoughts.
A dozen life jackets, just in case, I hope I get to bring them back. I hope I don't have to use them, but I'd rather have it and not need it than not have it and need it.
Yeah, imagine fleeing your home, and one of the item you need most is you have your truck full of enough life jackets for everyone in your family.
There's this extraordinary thing that you see through a lot of the suburbs of New Orleans, particularly the lower lying ones that are generally poorer, that are called Katrina crosses, and it's this grid like a X marks the spot, and the top quarter has a date, and that's the date at which a rescue team visited the house. Then the second quadrant is the name of the SES equivalent company, so it could have been someone from a group of guys from Lubbock, Texas, or some guys from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, who went there, so that they knew who did it. And then there's numbers for how many dead people were found in the house. And then there's things like the bottom quadrant is for notes, and it will say things like rats in ceiling or live wires or gas leak to tell the next crew that comes what to expect. And the truly staggering thing about them is when you see them on the side of houses, they're invariably 4, 5, 6 metres up. So they're written on like the roof line of the houses, because when they were written with spray cans from tinnies. People in boats were doing the rescue.
That's amazing.
Because all of the water had come out of the lake. So you realise that, okay, so the bottom story of that house, totally underwater. Everyone who was in there gone. So you see these things, and you see them on some quite normal homes. Somehow they've managed to clean them up after an entire lake filled them up. It's just truly staggering. Really, not much frame of reference for a disaster like that in Australia, where we're used to things like fires. Obviously, we have floods in Queensland and so on, but it's a completely different thing. But it's part of life for this whole region. Every August, September, there's just hurricanes coming through. But it does feel like they're getting worse.
Oh, yeah, I think statistically, I think that can be measured. Back here in Adelaide over the weekend, the Afghan community rallied, demanding that the federal government rescue more of their countrymen from Afghanistan, and also asking that some of the impediments to permanent citizenship be removed.
They'll need assurance from the government that they are staying here. They are coming here to stay. They can't just come here and without any hope of staying here permanently.
It's absolutely distressing. I mean, to think that I have so much family there that are in so much danger, you know. There's Taliban going around taking little girls as sex slaves. Knowing that my female cousins may be one of them, it's hard to sleep at night.
We want to act, you know. It's all good talking about it, but we want to act.
Here's a bit of what it sounded like here in Adelaide.
Free Afghanistan! Free Afghanistan! Silence is violence!
That was from here in Adelaide. The rescue mission for the US's part ends tomorrow. That's the deadline day when they've decided that the withdrawal finishes. We're out. Australian troops are out. Our element of this is done. So too the UK overnight. That's ended. There was a drone strike as well that took place overnight. Quite an extraordinary feat of intelligence gathering. It would appear a truck on the way to Kabul airport laden with explosives and suicide bombers was taken out by a single drone.
The sad reality is that as of the end of tomorrow, anyone who's stuck there is basically on their own.
Absolutely.
Like what way do you get out?
I can't. I don't know.
All those people who were working as interpreters or working for the former government, like, it's just terrifying.
Or women who are working at all.
Yes, exactly.
Here in Australia, the battle over the right philosophy to combat COVID going forward goes on. Gladys Berejiklian had this to say yesterday.
New South Wales has the opportunity to show the nation how it can be managed, even if you have a relatively high number of cases.
I do like that. There's still New South Wales is still of the view that whatever happens, they're still going to lead the way. Led the way in handing lockdowns, and it didn't go so.
So would you rather? Okay, so if she's out there hanging out a shingle saying you can all learn from us.
Yes.
What percentage of South Australians right now would go, maybe we're doing it wrong here?
Very few.
My God.
Precious few.
Unbelievable.
They've very much switched the conversation now to vaccine rates and saying, look, this is the environment in which the whole country is going to end up living. So her point is we're going to be the ones who get there first out of necessity, not necessarily by choice, albeit some may contest that point. The fact is, though, they're doing it at a vaccinated rate significantly lower than everywhere else. It's about 35% at the moment. And as we know, the Doherty modelling is 80%.
Yeah.
So it's not really an experiment about where we're going. It's just where they're at right now. 813 in hospital there, 126 in intensive care, 54 on ventilators.
The big trick for us, though, is going to be how do we make sure when we get to that 80%, so if we are going to say, okay, we're prepared to accept that there will be some cases, how do you make sure that the hospital system doesn't get overloaded?
That's the big challenge.
Particularly, I mean, given that ramping seems to be part of daily life here in South Australia, how does it work if there's a big surge in infections?
There was last year an investment in infrastructure for surge COVID-related scenarios. I know they built pods at the Women's and Children's Hospital outside the hospital that are there on the if there was a surge there. I presume other investments were made at other hospitals, but
yeah.
That's a reality that we don't necessarily want to have to come to grips with before we're ready for it. Let's check traffic. The team at Dave Potter, they're now Glenelg BMW, opening this Wednesday, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Eastwood, got a burst water main, Glen Osmond Road near Young Street. Left-hand lane closed, city-bound, speeds at 40. Crave is on the freeway down track, right lane closed there, speeds at 60 for work. Seeing some traffic building there already this morning. Leave early if you are heading that way. Busy Marion Road past Moore Street to St Donald Brabham Drive, very slow going due to works. And look out for cameras. Blacks Road, Gillis Plains, Diagonal Road, Sturt, and Lyons Road at Holden Hill. Hitting the road these holidays, book a Petters brake, steering and suspension check for just $28. For peace of mind and a comprehensive report, visit petters.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. Our family company has been selling the best quality wall and floor tiles from Italy, Spain and around the world for over 42 years. To professional builders, tilers and do-it-yourselfers. The secret of National Tile's success is the very best quality tiles at the guaranteed lowest prices every day of the year. So for immediate delivery of the best quality tiles at the lowest prices, rush into National Tiles or buy online now and save.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. There's been plenty of publicity about the strength of the Adelaide property market recently, and there's no signs of it slowing down anytime soon. We're still experiencing extraordinary demand for homes at all price points, with many properties selling quickly and for prices well beyond vendor expectations. With fewer homes on the market, demand is outweighing supply, and that's resulted in many outstanding results. If you'd like to know how much your home is worth in the current market, go to toop.com.au.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery has been changing lives for 18 years, and with their latest lottery, they're taking it to another level.
That's right, Will. This new lottery has an incredible collection of prizes to be won. The multi-million-dollar grand prize is just extraordinary, and it includes, how's this, a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home right on the Esplanade at South Brighton, plus $500,000 in cash.
Oh, that's a nice place to be able to call home. The house is amazing. Look, you can sit back and watch Adelaide's beautiful sunsets from your lounge room. It has everything you'd ever want. Home gym, designer kitchen with butler's pantry, outdoor barbecue area, massive garage, and so much more.
Now, if there's a home you want to win, it's this one. And when you buy a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, you're joining the fight for cures against deadly diseases and illnesses that impact every South Australian. So get your tickets now at homelottery.com.au.
It's been a tough 18 months, so at Vinnie's, we're giving back to our loyal shoppers for sticking by us during these uncertain times. Simply spend $10 or more in store and receive a Rip and Reveal ticket. Inside, you'll find a discount or Vinnie's gift card to be used on a future purchase. Every ticket wins, and best of all, every purchase you make helps Vinnie's support people who are struggling. Find your nearest Vinnie's at vinnies.org.au/shops.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 7, got a bit more information over the weekend about 2 truck drivers who've sparked a bit of a COVID scare in South Australia. They've been through the state on a couple of occasions, August 21 and 22, as well as August 25 and 26. There are 39 people thus far who've come into contact with them and have been told to quarantine, but there's a host of exposure sites in Ceduna and Port Augusta, and OTR being a real point of interest. And we're going to speak with Nicola Spurrier about that a little bit later in the morning, but primarily, it's the people in those areas that are affected to this point in time, and it's meant a whole host of things. One of them is that local footy matches and sporting contests had to be put off over the weekend. Jared Murphy is the A-grade coach for the Western United Tigers. Jared, good morning to you, mate.
Good morning, guys.
It's been pretty crazy trying to organise any kind of sport over the last 18 months, Jared. What's this latest scare meant for sport in Ceduna?
We were currently up to our preliminary final. We're actually hosting it at home in Penong. So the workload leading up to it was huge. I've been working for about 3 weeks to try and get our COVID management plan approved. And then to have the scare and then to have it called off at 10 to 9 in the morning was, it was pretty hard.
Oh, mate. So are you going to try to reschedule it for a week or two from now, or what's the plan?
Likely to just postpone it for a week, provided we have no cases. I think the league's just sort of holding its breath at the moment. The next day or two will be telling us to whether we have any positive cases, and then we'll have to work it from there. But obviously, the further we push it back, the longer the season goes, we start impacting on other sports and other events and stuff. So, yeah, we've got to be mindful of that too.
Have you got players who are in quarantine?
No, we were lucky. We were actually playing football on the day of the exposure on the 21st. So our club's pretty lucky. I do know of another club that's got about 10 people in quarantine at the moment. So that's something else we're going to have to take into account when we decide what we're doing with the league moving forward.
How are people bearing up in Ceduna broadly, Jared?
Yeah, pretty good. I think we've sort of probably been a little bit untouched by it all. Life's kind of stayed pretty similar, but with some of the restrictions over the last couple of weeks with the masks and stuff, it's impacted our club quite heavily. We're quite regional, and a lot of our supporters are farmers, so their day-to-day life, they don't have to, follow the restrictions so much in what the rest of the public do. So they've really struggled to adapt to wearing masks at football and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's hard. I think I spoke to a whole bunch of sporting clubs in Ardrossan, which is obviously a lot closer to Adelaide, but when they all got shut down for about 4 weeks or 3 weeks around the last lockdown, a lot of them were just scratching their head going, why are we even doing this?
Yeah. Jared, thank you for that. That's Western United Tigers A-grade coach Jared Murphy. You're just getting some news through. 7 News Adelaide reporting 0 cases so far today linked to the two truckies who went through Port Augusta and Ceduna. There are 99 people who have been ordered into isolation. There are 15 people who didn't QR check-in at the exposure sites that authorities are still trying to get in touch with. Brett Benbow's the Port Augusta Mayor. Mayor, good morning to you.
There you go, David.
We're good, thanks, Brett. What's the latest in Port Augusta?
Look, I've got the latest. You have, David. Just as you mentioned, there's a number of people that have been catered for that have been found that have been in vicinity of where the affected people were. So, and gratefully, as you mentioned, also there's no positive report at this point in time. So, people are banding together as we have and trying to stay strong, as we understand. It's a very nervous time for everyone. So,
it must be weird. I mean, I went to Port Augusta with my kids about 5 years ago. Went up there to that fantastic botanic garden. But it must be a bit strange because I reckon one of the nice things about being in a place like Port Augusta is you probably spent most of the last year or so going, how lucky are we being here?
Oh, most certainly. And, I don't really consider it luck, mate. I think it's good hard work by the community. Everybody's been sticking to their guns. Majority of them are wearing their masks and following the COVID rules. So I think by doing that, we've proven over the past time frames when this has happened in other areas that we've stuck to the rules, and that's very important. I suppose we need now to focus on the QR coding. I know that a lot of people have got their own personal views about the COVID, the vaccines and the QRs, but the QRs can save other people. So I do encourage people to think of that when they don't do it and encourage them to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Good advice. It's hardly the most taxing imposition in the world. Take 10 seconds and it helps keep us all safe. Good on you, Brett Benbow, the Mayor of Port Augusta. Thanks for joining us this morning.
23 minutes after 7. Lots to talk about footy-wise for our two sides over the weekend, and Stephen Rose casting an eye over all of it. Toyota Land Cruiser 300 Series coming to North Point. Don't miss out order now. It is the North Point way. Morning to you, Rowie.
Pembo and Will, good morning, and a cracking one too. Well, you couldn't be more impressed with Port. Smashed Geelong in every aspect of the game. Their manic pressure and heat around the contest, I thought it set it up. Balir down back, Lysett and Ruck was great. I call them the Fab Five. Orazio, Rosie, Butters, Gray and Moddy. Collectively, they destroyed them. They had no answer. They kicked 10 of their 12 goals. Put her into a home prelim. And you'd have to say, with Melbourne, a flag favourite. End of story. A home prelim.
It was an unbelievable effort. And the thing, too, about Port's incremental improvement all year, you know, this time a month ago, people were still saying, well, yeah, all right, they're good playing the bottom 8. How do they go against the top sides? Well, they beat a whole bunch of top sides. But there was still, after the Carlton game particularly, there was still this, they're a bit slow out of the blocks. They don't really get it together in the first half. Every single criticism of Port was scotched in the space of 2 hours on Friday night.
Yeah, Kaizen improvement, and I just can't wait for Ken Hickley, because history does repeat, to stand up if he can on grand final day, to say to some Port, and maybe most Port people, you were wrong. You were wrong. There are still haters for him. I don't get it. Hey, congratulations to Rory Laird, his second BNF, and great to see Tex, who attended, got a warm welcome, and so he should. But I want to quickly talk GWS star Toby Green. Look, he bumped into an umpire. It's rated as deliberate, so he goes straight to the tribunal. I think sadly for him, he's in a world of hurt. Regardless of the extent of the contact, AFL hate the look. He's going to get games, this lad. They're going to rub him out. He is a match winner on the field. They can't win without him, and now he's going to be a match winner or loser off it. I want to ask a question. Is he dumb, or is he unlucky, or is he the dumbest, unluckiest player ever?
He doesn't help himself.
No.
There are people are sort of going over that footage like it's the Zapruder film, and there are angles where it looks like
umpire.
Yeah, that's right. There are angles where it doesn't. Did he make contact? Did he not? He just puts himself in scenarios though where the question get asked, and I think he's been unfairly dealt with sometimes in the past because of who he is. But geez, this one's avoidable. If I was a GWS fan, I'd be livid. That bloke won him the game. I'd be livid.
It's his teammates and his coach who he's let down the most, and the supporters. It's just terrible. But it's probably hard enough to convince people to become umpires as things currently stand. I mean, we see stories out of amateur sport about umpires getting abused by. Well, I've seen it myself. School footy. There's kids out there who are like doing year 10, getting paid $20 a game to officiate at school football, school primary level football, and there's parents going, "Come on, ump!" And you think, why on earth would a 13-year-old boy do that for $20 if they know that every Saturday morning, like clockwork? And look, I'm as guilty of it as some people at the professional level at home watching a game on Friday night, and you see stupid things on Twitter and you like them and you laugh about them and whatever. But there's a point at which it just drifts into the totally unacceptable. And if Green's allowed to just shrug his shoulders and go, "Oh, well, it was just one of those things." God help the future of umpiring in the game.
I think that's why the AFL are going to probably come down on him like a ton of bricks. Hey, Rowie, we're already getting texts about this morning. I think the thing that goes Crows fans excited out of the weekend is Neil Balme-related news. Now, he's a Nord colleague of yours. He's part of the Nord Army. What are you feeling?
Well, I heard Cornsey drop it on air on Saturday, and he's correct. Look, nothing's been signed, is what I can gather. They've agreed to agree. I think it's going to look something like 3 days. And he's going to call it a godfather role. He's going to sit above Adam Kelly, and he's going to be able to sit on those committees, whether it be list management, whether it be recruitment, and he'll be able to ask the questions from experience that others down there haven't in the past. I think he's going to straighten that all up. I'm going to call him the second coming of the Messiah. Honestly, he ain't going to be Malcolm Blight because he had the hands on the controls, but this is the next hand you can have on the controls. I think this is as good of an appointment as you can get in an off season, because you've got a guiding, casting, experienced eye on every football decision that's made at that club from now on. And I think it's great. And look, I'm biased. I love him. I love the man. Best coach. I love him.
There's a lot of affection for him, and people have seen what he's done in various football departments. And look, as I say, we got texts about it earlier. People are excited about the appointment.
But it's not going to cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
This is going to be a manicured role that suits him in the time of his life absolutely perfectly.
So is he going to move back to Adelaide?
Yeah, he's coming back home. Play Can You Feel It? Nah, bugger it. You go get it. Put the bloody thing on. Can you feel it? Oh, can you feel it? Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Hey, bugger all else to get excited about.
You're right. It felt good just playing it, actually. Good on you, Rowie. Woohoo! Land Cruiser 300 Series is coming to North Point. Don't miss out. Order now. It is the North Point one.
Start building now, and you could be living the life many envy at the 19th. Choose your architecturally designed 2, 3, or 4 bedroom luxury home package now from just $730K. The 19th at West offers an incredible lifestyle. Explore West green pathways by foot or bike, sail or paddle on the iconic lake, swim at Grange Beach, or play around at the Grange Golf Club. It's all yours from just $730K, but you'd better be quick. Visit the19thwest.com.au today.
My escape outdoors.
My life outdoors.
My family time outdoors.
My living outdoors.
My Christmas outdoors.
My escape outdoors.
My living outdoors.
My family time outdoors.
My living outdoors.
I love my outdoors.
At My Living Outdoors, we turn spaces into places to live your best life. Outdoors, no matter what that is. So do your outdoors with My Living Outdoors, pergolas, verandas, decking, and more. Visit mylivingoutdoors.com.au.
Welcome to Amy's Everyday Arena, where competitor Keith is losing control of a Rogue garden hose. He's twisting and twirling. What a pirouette! Oh dear, the hose is going for the car windscreen. Lucky for Keith, Amy offer an app that lets you easily log, track and manage your claims. Who helps cover the challenges of the everyday arena? Amy does. App requires customer registration and isn't available for all products. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny and 20 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
A car stolen from Clearview has been located at Mile End. It was taken during a robbery on Turner Avenue last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says 2 people were arrested.
So a 15-year-old boy from Parafield Gardens and a 30-year-old man of no fixed address were charged with illegal use of a motor vehicle. The teenager was granted bail to appear in the Adelaide Youth Court on the 30th of September. The man was refused bail and will appear in court today.
Patrols were back in Mile End in the early hours of this morning. A resident on Rankin Road confronted an intruder around 1:30. The suspect stole a purse and then her car keys. The hunt for the vehicle is continuing. Now's the time to shop around for the best power prices in SA. The Essential Services Commission has released a new report which shows the cost of electricity for the average household has fallen by $145 in the past year. Energy and Mining Minister Dan Van Holst-Pelikan says it's another easing in cost of living pressures.
Making a total of $303 since the last election. But we know that 10% of people are still on standing offers versus market offers. And I just can't encourage that 10% strongly enough to contact their retailer and to shift from a standing offer to a market offer.
To the US, and New Orleans is now under a flash flood warning as Hurricane Ida bears down. Ida made landfall exactly 16 years after Hurricane Katrina struck the city. US officials say they've carried out an airstrike in Afghanistan to prevent the further bombing of Kabul airport. Meanwhile, as the BBC's Liz Dowsett reports, a child is believed to have been killed after a rocket hit a nearby house.
At this burning house close to Kabul airport, there's a frantic effort to douse the fire and rush the dead and injured to hospital. The US says on a street nearby it unleashed a drone strike and that its target was a vehicle carrying suicide bombers from the Islamic State group heading to the airport. At the airport itself, gunfire erupts. Taliban guards struggle to control the crowds. The last Western military flights are still taking off, but this unprecedented airlift will be over in days.
Voter support for the federal coalition has fallen to its lowest level since 2019, but the Prime Minister has managed to buck the trend with support for Scott Morrison lifting. In the latest news poll, Labor lead the coalition 54 to 46% two-party preferred. 50% of coalition voters believe the government should be doing more to address climate change. Nine's Lucy Gray has the details.
A YouGov survey of more than 15,000 Australians has unveiled a growing push for stronger climate action. 1 in 3 voters from metropolitan areas and 1 in 4 from rural electorates say climate change is the most important issue for them at the next election. More than 70% of voters also believe Australia should set a net zero emissions target by or before 2050. The Prime Minister is under growing pressure to strengthen his policy ahead of a climate summit in November.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
You could win millions with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Visit homelottery.com.au.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Plenty of attention on Port Adelaide small forward Orazio Fantasia and the health of his knee.
after he was subbed out late in the qualifying final win against Geelong. One game yesterday and Essendon's wait for a drought-breaking finals victory has continued after suffering a 49-point loss to the Bulldogs, which ends the Bombers' season. Well, it's day 6 of the Paralympics and Australia is looking to take its golden form to the track. Nine's Eddie Summerfield reports.
After winning silver in the T53 800 metres at London and then Rio, it was appropriate Maddie De Rosario would win gold at Tokyo in a new Paralympic record. Day 6 sees two-time silver medalist Reid McCracken channeling De Rosario's efforts as he chases an elusive gold in the wheelchair T34 100 metres. The wheelchair tennis sees Dylan Alcott and Heath Davidson both in singles quarterfinals, and there's 15 medal events in the pool.
To motorsport, Daniel Ricciardo's recorded his best finish for McLaren in Belgium in the Formula One's shortest ever Grand Prix. Only 2 laps were completed due to heavy rain. Max Verstappen won ahead of George Russell, Ricciardo finishing 4th. The Aussie says he thinks he can thank his success in qualifying.
Look, it makes me happier about yesterday's qualifying, of course, like that then gave us the result today, but today we didn't earn anything. It was all earned yesterday.
And crazy scenes at the final hole of the BMW Championship in Maryland. Patrick Cantlay with a 22-foot birdie putt to draw level with leader Bryson DeChambeau.
And another one! He did it again at the 72nd hole.
Audio thanks to Fox. It was amazing. DeChambeau then missed a 13-footer to win it. The two now headed for a playoff. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for a service? Then book your service today at Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
At Eastwood, got a burst water main, Glen Osmond Road near Young Street. That's as heading into the city, causing a few delays this morning. Crafe is on the freeway on the down track, got a right-hand lane closed there. Speeds down to 60. It is causing delays on the drive-in. Leave early if you're heading that way this morning. And getting busy, Marion Road past Moore Street to Sir Donald Bradman Drive. Very slow going for roadworks this morning. Census night was Tuesday, the 10th of August. It's not too late, so complete now. Visit census.abs.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Bureau of Statistics, Canberra. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
20 for your Monday and mostly sunny, partly cloudy tomorrow 20, then warming up on Wednesday, mostly sunny and 26. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
If you run a local business, us radio listeners would like a word.
A word about your garden centre sale.
A word about your new online store.
A word about your famous meat pies.
Because you've got the things we want.
But unless you advertise it, we won't know about it.
So get on the radio. Then it'll be your store we go to.
Your website we visit.
And your name we remember.
Come on.
We're all ears.
Advertise on radio and watch your business grow. For help with radio advertising, visit radioalive.com.au.
This Remember September, you choose the challenge. Give it up or move it. Maybe give up something you like caffeine, sugar or alcohol. Easy, right? It's free to enter and you'll be helping Pankind help fund life-saving pancreatic cancer research. Connect with workmates, friends or family no matter where they are. Remember September, a way to honour someone lost to pancreatic cancer or stand with those fighting the disease. Register now at rememberseptember.org.au.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 8. I think it was Wednesday last week, perhaps Tuesday. We got contacted by the leader of the Labor Party in South Australia, Peter Malinauskas, who said it was only right. His wife said, I'm not going to take the ticket to sit in the corporate splendour of the Adelaide Oval at the President's Dinner to watch Port Geelong in the final. It should go to someone who's a die-hard Port fan. So Peter Malinauskas said to us, look, one of your listeners is a die-hard Port fan. They can come along with me and take it. And we had an inkling that people would do just about anything to go along. So we had a little talent show here in Homo Square. Port's Got Talent. And Chris from Lockley's turned up as Strop.
G'day viewers. It's Hoke's little mate. Hi, David Goodings Strop. And Will Penberthy.
We found Strop. So Strop. Okay.
Yeah.
Strop. If you do win the comp, did you know you're going with someone pretty important to the footy? You're aware of this?
Well, yeah. Other than Hogs, I'm going with Peter Mal in kiss my ass. No. Let's call him PM. I'm used to being the hapless sidekick to a funny man.
Well, we're delighted to see Peter Malnauskas put up some pictures, and Chris was dressed up and the tax looked magnificent. We'll get a review from him on what was, I'm guessing, a pretty awesome night for a Port fan. Chris, good morning to you, mate.
Je m'appelle Strop, that's why I come on to Bell too. I learned a lot of French. At the football, especially directed at the umpires on Friday night. It was spectacular. Thank you.
Now, Chris, I've got to say, I saw the photo of you on Twitter. You scrub up pretty well. That tuxedo, that was a sensational bag of fruit. Did you hire it especially for the occasion, or did you already have that one in the cupboard?
Yeah, no, I had to hire that and take it back at before 12 midnight.
So what's Peter Malnauskas like as a dinner date?
Oh, he was sensational host, fantastic. He introduced me to the die-hard Port supporters, and I loved it. There were people there like Anna Mears, #1 ticket holder, and obviously there was the great table with Jack Cale and Lindsay Head, Graham Corns, Paul Bagshaw. It was spectacular, and he also introduced me to the police commissioner, which he probably knows me by photo anyway.
And they gave you good feed too, mate?
Oh, spectacular. The food there and the people and the presentation. I've got to say the highlight was actually the welcome to country that Port Adelaide does. That was spectacular, and it gave me goosebumps. It was spectacular to start the evening off with, and the game was every goal kick was wonderful as well. It was a great win.
It looked like the atmosphere was pretty special, and even though the crowd was barely half what it normally is, it just was a huge factor in the game. Geelong looked rattled, but it must be a good feeling being there among the Port faithful. One win away from glory.
Yes. Well, I wonder if the umpiring was a little bit fairer, what the results would have been. But it was a bit biased, those umpires. But that made the noise extra loud.
Yeah. Well, mate, look, good on you for coming out on a particularly cold morning. And, I understand too that when the game finished, you're off doing your charity work. You're collecting for Variety like you often do there on the bridge.
Yes, a lot of fun. And I must say that the Port supporters the patrons across the Adelaide Bridge there are more generous than any others. They're spectacular, especially when they're winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good on you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris, who won as Strop on Friday, going along with Peter Malnauskas to watch the footy. It sounds like it was a fantastic night had by all, I imagine. We've got some tweets from Port fans just saying it was just one of the most spectacular night. Well, there might be some more to come. Thank you for that, Chris. Good to chat with you, mate. 18 minutes to 8. Some other noise being made on social media over the course of the weekend. People that follow the genius behind Andy's list and the brains behind the program, Andy Ruzzion, here on 5AA Breakfast, will note he sounded off on the weekend. He was irate, just livid. Time Out New York had put together their list of the top 10 best pop songs of all time. The top 10 best pop songs of all time. Here's what they put together. Or earlier. It's a large section of the history of music that wasn't covered in the best 10 pop songs of all time. And he made the point, I don't know what the best pop song of all time is, but it was probably written in the 1960s. So Andy's list this morning, he's put together 5 bands that would or artists that have to be included in the top 10 pop artists of all time. If you're putting together a list with any sort of credibility, it has to contain this 5. Here's number 5. Andy's list. You just know
I think what Andy's proven, and what the people at Time Out proved as well, is, like, how do you define the parameters for a list like that?
Pop. Just
Well, you could say, well, Frank Sinatra, who topped the charts with all those mega hits he had off songs for swinging lovers and things like that. Do the Stones get in there for, like, his Satisfaction a pop song, or is that a rock song?
Yeah.
I think Madonna deserves to. I think it needs to be like a top 20. Lady Gaga, though, Andy, seriously, there's always one that he sneaks in to upset me, and that was it.
It worked.
The Beach Boys have to be in it.
Do you know how hard he has to try to upset you when you know the upset you one's coming, and then he achieves it? That's job done. A Razion.
See, I actually thought the Time Out list, the two that I reckon should definitely be in it are the Single Lady song by Beyonce, and definitely Taylor Swift has to be there, because she's one of the hugest singer-songwriters of all time. She's in Beach Boys type, in terms of the audience she commands.
You love Swiftie, don't you?
I do. I think she's superb.
Yep.
The 1989 show at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre is easily one of the best concerts I've ever seen.
All right,
Shake It Off, killer song.
Let's check traffic. The team at Dave Potter, they are now Glenelg BMW. They're opening this Wednesday, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
Seeing delays starting to build at Crafers this morning. That's due to that right lane being closed on the down track. Speeds at 60. Leave early if you're heading that way. Cowandilla expect delays on Marion Road near Sir Donald Bradman Drive for asphalt works, and getting busy Marion Road past Moore Street to Sir Donald Bradman Drive. Look out for burst water main this morning at Eastwood. That's on Glen Osmond Road near Young Street. It's in the left-hand lane closed, and that's city-bound. Don't miss out on locking in a low home loan interest rate. An Aussie broker can help you refinance your home loan and save money. Book a free appointment today at aussie.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Like Colonel Light's salute, a meat pie swimming in pea soup, covered in tomato sauce. Like the bronze pigs in Rundle Mall and the Popeye on the Torrens. The world-class Adelaide Oval and our pristine beaches. Things that make our fine state. It's who we are. Local, iconic, proud. Lyris SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
G'day, Scotty Cam here. Like to win a Weber Family Q? Mitre 10's got 4 to give away this Father's Day. Just make a purchase of $50 or more and you're in it to win it. Plus, if you're a Mighty Rewards member, you'll get a bonus entry with every purchase. And if you're not a Mighty Rewards member, no worries. Join for free when you make your purchase and you'll automatically get your bonus entry. Too easy. That's mighty helpful Mitre 10. Conditions apply. See in store for details.
At Toop and Toop, we make life simple for our landlords. Our clients no longer have to wait until the end of the month to know where their rent is paid up to. Hi, I'm Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop Real Estate. Through our property app Toop Home, our landlords can track all property information, transactions, maintenance, inspections, and receive live updates anywhere at any time. Want to find out more? Contact our team on 8362 8888 or go to toop.com.au.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery has been changing lives for 18 years. Now, we've taken it to a whole new level with a $3 million grand prize. A Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade. If there's a home you want to win this year, it's this one. With $1 million in bonus prizes and $1 million early bird prize. There's more big winners than ever before. Join the fight. Homelottery.com.au. Licence M144053.
Are you nuts about your dad? What better way to show him this Father's Day than with something he loves from Charlesworth Nuts? G'day, I'm Brett Charlesworth and we have over 50 different handmade gifts filled with his favourite nuts and chocolates. We have amazing gift hampers, gift baskets and gift bags, any of which will make you the absolute favourite. Go nuts in our online shop right now or visit one of our 11 family-owned stores. And thank you, South Australia. We really appreciate your support. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better.
The sun, the brightest entity in our solar system. But what's the brightest place on Earth? Right here at Kate's house. She just installed a home battery in the state that leads the world in home batteries, storing the sun's renewable energy, reducing emissions, making power more affordable. Right here in SA, the brightest place on Earth. For your government subsidy and more affordable energy, visit homebatteryscheme.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Don't miss Olympic Industries whatever the weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 to 8, John Blake in a moment. Breaking 8 coming up after 8 o'clock this morning, as is Koshy. On the Koshy scale of happiness, where's he going to be this morning, do you think? Is he at 11 yet, or is he still within the realms of the traditional Koshy rating scale, like a good solid 8.5?
If you think about the way Matt Abraham crafts the Mitre 10 scale, I think that there's got to be a separate scale for the Koshy happiness meter at the moment. It's not a scale of 1 to 10. It's a scale of, it's like Scoville units for chilies.
Oh, so it grows exponentially.
He is the
like the Richter scale.
He is the Carolina Reaper
of
happiness right now. He's about 4 million.
Okay, we'll put him at a 4 million.
He's a boot jalokia, is what he is. You ever had a boot jalokia?
No, I haven't, and I've never been the equivalent level of happy as a boot jalokia.
It is the most evil chili. There's a bunch of them. There's some where you go to Chili Mojo on McGill Road, you need to sign a statutory declaration. Seriously, when you buy some chili sauces, you've got to be over 18, and you have to sign a waiver going, if I get this on like my skin, my eyes, anywhere, I realise that there's a pretty good chance I'll be deader than disco.
I feel like we've gone too deep on that analogy now. 8 to 8.
I just end up talking about food again. Not sure how that happened.
Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News is on the line. I don't know, does this week's weather forecast put you on the David Koch scale of happiness, Amelia?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a boot jalokia. I actually don't even know what that word is, by the way.
It's a chili from India.
I don't know if I'm there, but I'm pretty close. I have been talking about this forecast to anyone and everyone who listens. Granted, that is also my job, but on weekends, I've also been talking about it. The second to last day of winter today. How good was it waking up this morning? Like sunshine around, you just know we've got a good week ahead. Mostly sunny today, 20's the top. Maybe a little bit of cloud around tomorrow. Still 20 though, slight chance of a shower about the hills and southern suburbs. We've got like a little front that's just going to clip the state tomorrow, and then we're on the way up. Wednesday's actually my pick of the week. I'll tell you why. We're going for a top of 26 degrees, but winds will mostly be sort of light. They might pick up a little bit. And then Thursday's the warm one, 29 degrees. It will be a bit breezy at times, though. It's not our warmest September day on record, but certainly among the warmest days this early in the month, that's for sure. And then we've got showers returning from, we'll just gloss over that part. 5 to 15 millimetres worth, 18 then. Certainly warming up this week. And, yeah, just a really lovely welcome to spring.
Yeah, beautiful. Feels good. Feels like a good time. Getting through winter, getting through the flu season.
Interestingly, Thursday morning will also be the nicest morning to wake up to, too, because I don't know about you guys, especially you guys, actually, because you guys get up so early. I'm just fed up with these cold starts. You know, what did we have last week? 1.9 degrees a low.
Terrible.
The low's Thursday night, Wednesday night into Thursday. We're not expected to drop any lower than that overnight. So Wednesday night will be a really lovely night just to sit, out, have a barbecue, something like that. Just stuff that we haven't been doing for the past few months because we've been cooped up. It's our wettest winter since 2016. So just some really lovely days ahead. What would you cook for Wednesday night, Pembo?
Something simple.
Amelia.
Just a Greek salad,
Amelia.
some chops, something easy.
Not at
Cook
6
one,
minutes to
thank
8,
you.
Amelia.
Yeah.
You can ask David a cooking question. You make it at the start of the hour.
Something involving chorizo. We should all catch up at some point. It'd be good fun. Something to cook off.
In all seriousness, if you can ever get David to cook for you, Amelia, it's actually worth it. The guy's a genius.
Oh, you.
Yeah, he's really good.
You.
Amelia, thank you.
You had me at hello, Will.
I know. I know how to get you on side. Thanks, Amelia.
Have a good day, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Amelia.
Amelia Mulcahy from
starting to cramp our style.
7 News, exactly right.
Weird lovings unfolded.
It was. We don't make a habit of paying compliments on this program.
We don't.
Certainly
not to each other.
Let's cease. Speaking of which, compliments. Text line feedback to Andy's list. Someone said, not a big ABBA fan, but what about Dancing Queen? Anytime that song comes on, everyone gets up to dance. What about Pretty Woman? I mean, ABBA was in the list. I think it was about bands, not individual songs. Someone says it's absolutely criminal that Backstreet's Back made neither list.
Please.
Kylie says, David, I think you're amazing, but Gaga should totally be in there.
Oh, well.
It's not often that you're wrong. Have a great day, says Kylie.
Don't worry, Kylie. Andy's flying the flag here for Lady Gaga.
Rob says, lads, pop songs. Where's a Sergio Mendes, Born to Be Alive?
Sergio Mendes?
Or Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Thank
what
you,
about
Rob.
a bit of Brazil 66? What's that song? Oba, oba, oba.
There you go.
Oh,
that might have been sixth for Andy.
I actually reckon the number one pop song of all time is Be My Baby.
Okay.
Because it's like a prototype song, and it's so influential. Like the amount of stuff that followed on from that with the Phil Spector production. Anyway, we could discuss this all morning.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of top five, this will fit in nicely. It's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
Now we present the top 5 reasons the AFL Grand Final should be played at Adelaide Oval.
Number 5.
South Australian Premier Stephen Marshall. Because the Power will probably be in the grand final, and I'm a Power fan, and I'm the bloody Premier.
Shut up, Stephen.
Oh, sorry, Grant.
Number 4.
Victorian Premier Dan Andrews. Because we need to send as many of us as possible over there to maximise South Australia's chances of becoming a COVID nightmare like Victoria and New South Wales. Adelaide's had it far too good for far too long. Why would you want to go there? To infect them, that's why.
Number 3.
South Australian Opposition Leader Peter Malinauskas. The grand final should be played at Adelaide Oval so people from other states can experience the serenity of living in a place without the hustle and bustle of being able to go to the shops whenever you like.
Number 2.
Norwood football legend Gary McIntosh.
I don't want to be involved, thanks. We just want to know why you think the grand final...
I don't want to be involved.
Why not?
I just don't. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't care.
Number 1.
Former Federal Minister Christopher Pyne.
It won't be played at Adelaide Oval until we get rid of that horrible old scoreboard and build another concrete monstrosity to complete the stadium and name it the Corn Stand, which will please Crows and Power supporters and carry on the tradition of completely ignoring KG Cunningham's contribution to South Australian sport.
I'm still the Premier.
Shut up, Stephen.
Sorry, Nicola.
More from John Blake after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors.
Check out this hot weekend getaway to Uluru from NT Now. Private jet charter, flying Adelaide to Uluru direct. Accommodation with daily breakfast, fully hosted. 3 days and 2 nights touring around Uluru. And a stack of other memorable experiences. Uluru by private jet, departing Friday, October 22. Hurry, it's selling fast. Seats are limited from just $2,269 per person. Search NT Now or book online at ntnow.com.au.
As experts in hearing care, Specsavers Audiology know that when shopping for hearing aids, you need upfront information to make the right decision, because hearing aids need to fit your needs, lifestyle and budget. That's why Specsavers provide upfront prices on great value hearing aids online and in-store, even before your appointment. And it pays to shop around. Some Specsavers customers say they saved half the price quoted elsewhere on top-of-the-range hearing aids. Specsavers Audiology for upfront prices and straight-up advice. Visit specsavers.com.au/hearing. That website one more time for you, specsavers.com.au/hearing.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries' Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 o'clock, breaking at 8, not far away. Let's check in on this weekend's real estate action. Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop on the line. Morning, Susanna.
Good morning, guys.
Now, how was the weekend? How'd you go?
But we had a great auction in Burnside. It was a unit with 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. Pretty original condition, but neat and tidy. 32 people registered to bid, and it sold on Saturday in front of a huge crowd for $672,000, well above expectations. And we had a property in Renown Park, a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom courtyard home on 665 square metres, and it sold under the hammer for $900,000. So a big weekend of auctions again this weekend as we head into spring.
Well, I was going to ask about the Susanna, because spring's usually synonymous with the highest level of real estate activity. Is that still a trend that you're expecting to see this year?
Look, you're right. I mean, spring is typically where we see a lot of new property coming on the market. In Adelaide, it's around 20% more properties that would traditionally come on the market come this time of year. But this year may be a little different. We're seeing stock shortages, which has been a big issue for the last, say, 18 months. So trying to find something to move into once you sell could be the stumbling block, because this is what stops the pipeline of properties coming onto the market. Because if you can't move into your new home, you may be hesitant to sell. But we are seeing people are looking to rent properties, sort of tie them over to give them that bit of extra time to find something. But generally speaking, I mean, I think it is a positive sign, incredibly positive sign for spring here in Adelaide and right across the country. Confidence is high. We're seeing about 50% more transactions happening across the country than this time last year. So that's great news for the industry as a whole. And I think it just means that people are getting more comfortable with selling property in and out of lockdown.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Thank you, Susanna. Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop with our weekend real estate wrap.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny and 20 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
Bank records are being checked and CCTV footage reviewed as authorities work to find more than a dozen people who were at a Port Augusta petrol station visited by 2 COVID-positive truck drivers. Not everyone checked in with the QR codes, which means they can't be contacted, and the servo has now been deemed a Tier 1 exposure site. Port Augusta Mayor Brett Bembo has told 5AA Breakfast that so far there's been no positive cases within the local community.
People are banding together as we have and trying to stay strong. As we understand, it's a very nervous time for everyone.
Health experts believe Victoria could still get back to close to COVID zero if the state is willing to remain in lockdown for another 6 weeks. Daily case numbers have been steadily growing and topped 90 yesterday. Epidemiologist Tony Blakely has told the ABC Victoria has 2 options.
In the last 10 days we've been relatively stable but not falling in Victoria. So we have options going forward. We can either keep going for zero or we can get sort of that control, get it even and just relax a little bit and just try and keep the numbers there. But that's not an easy thing to do with COVID.
Mile End was a hive of activity overnight. A car stolen at Clearview was located in the suburb. A 15 and 30-year-old have been charged. There was also a house break-in at Mile End, the suspect taking car keys. He fled on foot after crashing a vehicle. Support for the federal government has fallen. The latest news poll shows the coalition's primary vote has slipped 3 points to 36% compared to 40% for Labor. The opposition has now opened up an 8-point lead to party preferred, 54 to 46. Well, the US state of Louisiana has battened down the hatches due to a massive Category 4 hurricane. Nine's Michael Genovese is there.
Hurricane Ida produced wind speeds more than 200 kilometres an hour before making landfall along the Gulf Coast. A state of emergency has been declared, with New Orleans, Baton Rouge and Morgan City expected to cop the brunt of the monster system. It comes 16 years to the day that Hurricane Katrina battered the area, killing 1,800 people. Katrina was a Category 3. Hurricane Ida is more powerful, a Category 4.
US military officials say a drone strike in Afghanistan has stopped another attack at Kabul airport. Nine's Amelia Adams has more.
America's unmanned airstrike hit a vehicle near Kabul airport carrying ISIS-K operatives and explosives, eliminating the threat, the Pentagon says, of another terror attack. It came as the US president met with families of the 13 service members killed in last week's suicide bomb blast at the airfield. Their bodies returning from Kabul this morning, transferred onto American soil as the President, First Lady and military chiefs watched on. A solemn ceremony honouring those killed while helping others to flee the Taliban.
Actor Ed Asner, who appeared on The Mary Tyler Moore Show and more recently voiced Carl in the animated movie Up, has died at 91. He won 7 Emmys, 5 Golden Globes and was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1992. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Win a $3 million grand prize on South Brighton Esplanade with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The finals race is down to 6 after the weekend results. Port Adelaide set to relax with a week off following Friday night's 43-point win against Geelong. The Power are a chance to regain Mitch Georgiades from a hamstring strain, while Orazio Fantasia will be closely monitored after hurting his knee against the Cats. Essendon's 17-year wait to win a final will stretch at least another year after being well beaten by the Bulldogs by 49 points yesterday. The Dogs will now travel to Brisbane to take on the Lions at the Gabba on Saturday, while Geelong and GWS will clash in the other semi-final in Perth on Friday night. To soccer, and Manchester United's strong start to the EPL season's continued after recording a 1-0 win against Wolverhampton. The Red Devils leaving it late. Mason Greenwood, the hero.
Mason Greenwood finally penetrates for Manchester United.
Tottenham also had a 1-0 win against Watford, while Brentford and Leeds drew 1-1. Meantime, Ange Postecoglou's Celtic has gone down 1-0 to bitter rivals Rangers in the Scottish League. To golf, Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Cantlay are still locked in a playoff late in the BMW Championship in Maryland. The two finished at 27 under. And in some motorsport, Max Verstappen has won the Belgian Formula 1 Grand Prix after just 2 laps were completed due to bad weather. A better result for Aussie Daniel Ricciardo, who came 4th. Meantime, Fabio Quartararo has won the British MotoGP. Aussie Jack Miller was 4th. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
The team at Dave Potter are now Glenelg BMW, opening this Wednesday, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Seacliff this morning, got the lights playing up on Brighton Road near Barwell Avenue. Crafe is on the freeway, the down track, pretty slow going at the moment. That's due to that right-hand lane being closed and speeds down to 60 k's for works. Seeing traffic start to build already this morning. Leave early if you are heading that way. Northfield also delays there too this morning. Grand Junction Road near Hampstead Road for works. And look out for cameras, Jetty Road, Brighton, South Terrace, Apparaka. Got the worst house on the best street? Talk to Burbank Homes. The knockdown rebuild specialists. Start fresh with a brand new build or even 2. Visit burbank.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
Mostly sunny and 20 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 20, Wednesday mostly sunny 26 degrees. Right now it's 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Terry White Chemmart is now administering the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine nationally. Book your free vaccination today. It'll help us all get back to the things we miss and love. Book now at terrywhitechemmart.com.au. Participating in authorised pharmacies only, excludes Northern Territory.
It's been a tough 18 months, so at Vinnie's, we're giving back to our loyal shoppers for sticking by us during these uncertain times. Simply spend $10 or more in store and receive a Rip and Reveal ticket. Inside, you'll find a discount or Vinnie's gift card to be used on a future purchase. Every ticket wins, and best of all, every purchase you make helps Vinnie's support people who are struggling. Find your nearest Vinnie's at vinnies.org.au/shops.
Don't miss Olympic Industries whatever the weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes after 8, breaking at 8 coming up very shortly. And then we're going to be chatting with the mother of Izzy Vincent, who is the youngest member of the Paralympic swim team. They won a silver in the 4x100. Controversial circumstances too. The first place team, the US, got disqualified. Australia touched in third. Eventually got upgraded to silver. But pretty excited mother of Izzy Vincent, and we'll be chatting with her very shortly. Also, Professor Nicholas FIVEaa coming up in just a moment. But first, breaking it up.
Well, for listeners of a certain age, including myself, the two words chunky custard are synonymous with wild nights, live music, maybe a couple of quiet beverages, cutting the rug at now venues which tragically are no longer with us, places like Lenny's Tavern and the what used to be a wonderful band space, albeit now a sensational dining space at the Old Lion. Chunky Custard were one of the go-to party bands in this town in the late 80s and 90s. The good news is they are getting together again, and they are getting together for a really, really important cause. You'll remember the work, and I use the term loosely, Will and I did a couple of weeks ago where we partnered up with the Hospo Owners Collective and the owners of the Lasing Karaoke Bar down there in Goodger Street for our night, where very kindly we got the Lord Mayor along, Heather Krull, the Fringe CEO and Director, musicians such as Kim Perling. It really was a sensational night, but it was a night with purpose. Well, another night with purpose coming up, and this involves a place that is really dear to my heart. So many great times there over the years. The Governor Hindmarsh, they're going to be hosting an event called Save Our Stages. Now, this is an initiative that actually exists in the US in relation to Broadway performers, independent music spaces as well. And it's also been really big in New South Wales, where people who work in the live music industry, who are wholly reliant on crowds to survive, are seeking support more along the lines of what the Victorian government has done. And we've discussed this in relation to things like the Beer and Barbecue Festival as well. But the Hospo Owners Collective have basically grabbed the mic and they've stepped it up a notch with the support of the legendary Governor Hindmarsh to bring to Adelaide this one-off gig to raise awareness and funds in support of local musicians and local venue owners. All the money raised from ticket sales is going to be injected back into the live music industry. Now, it's happening Friday week, the 10th of September. We're going to have somebody on the show tomorrow to get more details about it. But if you love Chunky Custard and you want to help our performers, I mean, it's just so sad. A mate and I were going to go and see the sensational yob rock exponents from Victoria, the Cosmic Psychos, at Jive this Saturday night, just gone. Got the email Friday. Clearly it's not happening. That concert's now on January the 15th. So how does a place like Jive survive the intervening period when there's no shows? We understand what we're going through, but we need to acknowledge the huge financial impact it's having on performers and venue operators. So more detail on that tomorrow. But the good news is, back for one night only, Chunky Custard.
12 minutes after 8, Professor Nicholas FIVEaa coming up in just a moment. But first, we'll check traffic thanks to the team at Dave Potter, who are now Glenelg BMW. It opens this Wednesday, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Seacliff, lights playing up Brighton Road near Barwell Avenue. Crayford is on the freeway down track. Right lane closed there, speeds at 60 for work. Seeing traffic starting to build already there. Leave early if you're heading that way. Getting busy, Grand Junction Road, Fosters Road to Arthur Avenue. And look out for cameras, Anzac Highway, Glandore, Grand Junction Road, Hope Valley, and Morford Road at Seacombe Gardens. Looking for something to do this Father's Day? Don't miss classic Formula One cars, iconic sports cars, and the wildest hypercars at the Bend Classic this weekend at the Bend. Tickets on sale now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Like a Barossa Shiraz, served alongside a correctly pronounced beef palmy. From the sandy dunes of the glorious Coorong to the vast splendour of the Flinders Ranges. Things that make our fine state. It's who we are. Local, iconic, proud. They're as SASAA. Live, local and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
Are you nuts about your dad? What better way to show him this Father's Day than with something he loves from Charlesworth Nuts? G'day, I'm Brett Charlesworth and we have over 50 different handmade gifts filled with his favourite nuts and chocolates. We have amazing gift hampers, gift baskets and gift bags, any of which will make you the absolute favourite. Go nuts in our online shop right now or visit one of our 11 family-owned stores. And thank you, South Australia. We really appreciate your support. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery has been changing lives for 18 years. Now, we've taken it to a whole new level with a $3 million grand prize. A Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade. If there's a home you want to win this year, it's this one. With $1 million in bonus prizes and $1 million early bird prize. There's more big winners than ever before. Join the fight. homelottery.com.au. Licence M14053.
You could easily be living the life, but you'll need to be quick. The 19th at West is selling premium 2, 3 and 4 bedroom architecturally designed homes from just $730K. Stunning homes with a stunning lifestyle. Explore West's green pathways, paddle on the iconic lake, swim at Grange Beach, or play around at the Grange Golf Club. Start building now and move in next year. Hurry, from $730K, they'll sell fast. Visit the19thwest.com.au.
Wanna get away? Follow your dream.
You know our bucket list holidays, they're all borderline now.
Lucky we're in a great state to be in because we have plenty of dream destinations right here in SA.
I reckon our best tourist attraction has to be Adelaide Custom Caravans.
What?
Their manufacturers are taking orders right now, so we can take off sooner than we think.
Get away!
We will.
Follow your dream with Adelaide Custom Caravans.
AdelaideCustomCaravans.com.au. You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
16 minutes after 8, we're joined by Professor Nicola Spurrier on 5AA Breakfast. Professor, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Perhaps start with just an update. What's the latest you've learnt with regard to the concerns we've got over Ceduna and Port Augusta?
So very briefly, we've had the 2 truck drivers come through. They were in the same truck together. One was more infectious than the other because he had the infection first and presumably passed it on to the other chap. And just going on when he developed symptoms, which was on the 24th, we have gone back to the 22nd and the 21st, although just being mindful that on the very, very early in the morning of the 21st, he had a test collected in New South Wales and that was negative. So if he was infectious that day, it would have been hopefully of low infectiousness, but because we want to be really cautious here, we don't want to miss anything in our state, we've got those additional exposure sites. And so at the moment, the team told me last night they had been in contact with approximately 150 close or casual contacts, and there's 99 people that have been asked to quarantine and get tested. And we've got some of those tests back as negative, and we're just collating all of those tests this morning. So the most important thing for us is to get our hands around this and make sure that anybody that was exposed is in quarantine, because that means that we're not putting the rest of the community at risk. And we did have a bit of an issue because as I said in the press yesterday, when we looked at the CCTV footage, there was not a high compliance rate with the QR check-ins at the on-the-runs, and we're having to go back to look at bank details and also looking at the CCTV and see if we can identify people that way, because it's really quite worrying if somebody's been exposed. We want to make sure that they know as well, and then, of course, we want to make sure that they're protected and their family and the rest of the community is protected.
Can I ask Professor Spurrier, clearly here in SA we've done such a great job keeping COVID out and also containing and crushing outbreaks when they occur, and a lot of that is credit to you, a lot of it's credit to the community as well. But how do you feel as Chief Medical Officer about the discussion that's happening nationally now about getting to a point where when we reach 80% people vaccinated, are you comfortable with the idea of saying, all right, we've got to avoid lockdowns, even though there will probably be cases?
Look, I think that lockdowns is only one part of our public health effort, and at some time, and I think it's obvious now because there is the Delta variant in Australia. At some point, we are going to have that here in South Australia, and we have to look at all of our public health pillars of prevention. Now, the thing that has changed it is that we can be vaccinated, but we do need to have everybody vaccinated, and it's quite obvious with the Delta virus that herd immunity is very unlikely to occur, so that everybody needs to be vaccinated. Now, I know that it's useful to think about different thresholds, but when you look at the Doherty modelling about the 70 and 80%, it's talking about being able to back off on some of the public health controls, but not all of those public health controls. And indeed, it's likely that we will still need to have some public health restrictions on and density requirements to try and reduce the transmission when we get to that 70 or 80%. But when we do those long lockdowns, and of course in South Australia, I think we're the jurisdiction with the fewest number of days in lockdown of any of the jurisdictions, and so we haven't really had that experience that they've had in Victoria in particular, and also now in New South Wales. But what we would be hoping to do is avoid that. Now, of course, we still need to have very good contact tracing capability and still be able to put people into quarantine. So many of those things will continue, but it's just then reassessing the balance. If you've got the vaccine, can we perhaps back off on some of those much more heavy public health restrictions such as the lockdowns?
So what's the point in your mind then when things like density requirements and mask wearing won't be required any longer?
So can you just ask me that one again?
Just wondering what's the point in time then in your mind that those requirements, those more minor restrictions won't be?
Yeah, sure. So I don't think we have a real answer for that at the moment because we don't have real-world experience of how the vaccine covers people for a longer period of time. But we're very lucky, I guess, in Australia because we can see what's happening in other countries. And so we've got the experience happening in the UK. Also, I'm very interested in countries such as Iceland, which are rather smaller, are an island, and have done an extremely good job with their contact tracing. So we are looking at all of these things at AHPPC continually. We're always reassessing what's going on elsewhere. And of course, in South Australia, we can see what's happening in New South Wales at the moment. And it's almost, we've got that, not to say it's an experiment, but we can see what's happening there. We will be able to see the impact of the vaccine on their very significant outbreak and look to see what sort of restrictions they need to keep in place to keep things under control. At the end of the day, we've got to make sure that we are not overwhelming our healthcare system, and that's in terms of both our ICUs, but also other forms of hospitalisation to the general ward and to outpatients with people having complications associated with COVID. So it is quite tricky, and it's very difficult to give you a very simple and straightforward answer, and I think it's a little bit early to tell at the moment.
As things stand right now, in terms of the capacity in our hospitals and emergency departments and so forth, are we in a position that we can withstand at the end of the year or early next year cases in South Australia, or do we need to expand our capacity?
So that's exactly what we're doing at the moment, all of that modelling, and you have to put that into the mix if you're thinking about having the disease in your community and having some cases. You really have to be very mindful that you can accept that and that your hospitals will manage to cope. So that's exactly what we're doing, is looking at all of that modelling. The other thing I did want to say was that when we talk about 70 or 80% of a population being vaccinated, that's really a very much an average percentage. What I would really be looking for is that all of our communities have a very high vaccination rate. So it's no good having one, half of the population with 95, 100% of people vaccinated, and then other communities where it's only 40% of vaccination, because then you'll really run into problems with those communities and they will really suffer. So we've got to make sure we've got an equity lens on this as well, so that we're all in it together and that we're all protected together.
Can you believe what feels like almost our luck over the last 3 weeks, Professor Spurrier? Like, are you surprised that we haven't had cases here in the last few weeks?
Well, I do think there is some luck, and I think there is some good management, and I also think it's about South Australians doing the right thing, understanding the need to QR check-in and wear masks. We may have had cases we don't know about, but the chains of transmission haven't progressed. It's very important that we're all getting tested as well when we have symptoms, and so I think generally South Australians have followed that advice, and I know that we're all getting a bit tired with it and perhaps want to move on, but it is very important that we stick in this and that we make sure that we continue to do all of those things.
Can I ask you one more question with relation to the Port Augusta and Ceduna situations? And it's the number one text we've received this morning on the Telstra Stormont Parker text line. Is SA Health 100% satisfied that this was these guys' first stop in SA, that they didn't stop anywhere before that? Because a few people have remarked that it's they've gotten a hell of a long way into the state.
So my understanding from the team is that they had stopped at one of the truck sites, but there was nobody else there, and they were able to, have something to eat, and there was no contact at all with anybody else. So the trucking industry have been fabulous, really, over the pandemic. Many of the truck drivers have their own food; they'll sleep in their cabs, and so they're really very mindful of not coming into contact with people from a community perspective. So these guys did exactly the same with that.
Good stuff. Professor Nicola Spurrier, thanks very much for joining us on 5AA Breakfast.
Thank you very much. Bye now.
Looking at the UK, like watching IPL games at the moment, EPL. Sorry, not
Yep.
IPL. You just go, oh, please. I want a slice of that action.
Yeah, it's jarring in a good way. You go, how good's this? The atmosphere and the...
This is where we need to be careful, though, because I totally understand that it's this part of it clearly is not Professor Spurrier's job. It's her job to say, well, these are the health risks. But if you talk about the post-lockdown world, and to put it in the context of today's Breaking at 8, like it's all well and good and wholly valid in a health sense for the health officials to say, well, we're not going to have lockdowns, but we are still going to have some restrictions. Well, that's where the detail becomes hugely important for so many businesses.
Yeah.
Because what is the post-lockdown model for the Governor High Hotel?
And those questions need to be answered sooner rather than later, because
they do.
Because I reckon there are a heap of businesses hanging on by a thread saying we're holding out for the end of the year. We're holding out for December, 80%.
Well, okay, put it in the context. Where's our Christmas party going to be this year? How many people can we have at it?
Yeah.
Can partners come?
Yep. And no business in Adelaide was bought or is maintained with a view that its capacity is going to be reduced by 25% permanently.
Right. That's right. I mean, the reason the excellent Matty Rogers at the Goodie Park Hotel invested all that money in that superb new beer garden is so that people can sit in there and drink and talk and, get up and maybe dance on a Sunday afternoon when there's live music. All those things. That's what it's there for. That's why the money has gone into it, and all the staff have been hired. So this is where huge precision is required and more government involvement in that part of the discussion. Because otherwise, what are we just going? Oh well, in the post-lockdown world, we might lose 10% of our businesses.
That's what's being modelled. It sounds like. All right, let's check the fuel situation. Team at Dave Potter, they're now Glenelg BMW. They open up this Wednesday, Adelaide's newest home for BMW. The fuel situation is a little bit better than it has been. The cheapest we've found at Para Hills and Paraka, where it's $1.27 along Bridge Road. Elsewhere, $1.32 at the OTR on Port Road in Alberton, $1.39 at the corner of Henley Beach Road and Tapleys Hill Road, $1.41 at the OTR in Hyde Park, and $1.34 on the OTR in the corner of McGill Road and Glenburn Road.
More Australians die of heart disease than any other cause. It can tear families apart, and the heartache lasts a lifetime. Because when kids lose someone they love, they never stop missing them their whole lives. But you can help the Heart Foundation fund life-saving research and keep more families together. Donate to the Heart Foundation today.
Landlords, Do you get a notification to your mobile phone the minute your rent has been paid? With Toop and Toop Property Management, you do. We provide award-winning technology backed up by old-fashioned customer service. With Toop Home, every transaction is available at the touch of a button. You'll experience absolute transparency and peace of mind. Make the switch with a smooth transition of your property. And with our Toop Switch campaign this month, it's at no cost to you. Call us today on 8362 8888.
Well, are you contemplating a weekend getaway? Because you can get away to Uluru thanks to NT Now.
Now, how's this sound? A private jet charter flying Adelaide to Uluru direct. It's fully hosted, exclusive and premium, and it's a 3-day, 2-night package.
Can I tell you, my mother-in-law has just been on this trip. She got
really?
back last night, and if her Facebook is anything to go by, she'll be an agent for this company before long.
Seriously?
She's described it as the greatest trip she's ever been on. Absolutely loved it. So you get return private charter flights, accommodation with daily breakfast, a sightseeing tour of Uluru, access to the spectacular Field of Light display. Google that. Google the Field of Light display. It is incredible, and a stack of other memorable experiences. It ticks all the boxes.
Sounds like my kind of holiday too. You know, pretty bloody-da, like, you know, you're not out there schlepping around in your dusty boots. Don't know if people ever wanted to climb it either. Like, that sounds like far too much.
You can't see it when you're on it either, by the way.
All meet for G&Ts at sunset and just marvel at it. That's what you want to do. You can't fly any other way to Uluru. Your private jet departs for Uluru on Friday, October 22. Seats are limited from just $2,269 per person.
7 tours have sold out already. Do yourself a favour and find out why they're so popular. Search NT Now, book online at ntnow.com.au or call 1800 854 897.
We've survived knife cuts,
power cuts,
broken backs,
busted ovens,
bowels checks, bushfires, dodgy Wi-Fi,
drunken diners,
food critics,
no shows,
no sleep, no tips,
and worse still,
well done steaks.
But unless Australia gets vaccinated faster,
our restaurants don't stand a chance.
So don't just talk about it.
Put a jab on the menu today.
This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Mostly sunny and 20 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Country footy finals have been impacted by the state's latest COVID scare. Close to 100 people have been identified as close contacts of 2 interstate truck drivers who passed through SA earlier this month and stopped at petrol stations at Port Augusta, Ceduna and Nundroo. Jared Murphy from the Western United Footy Club in Ceduna has told FIVEaa Breakfast their prelim finals were cancelled Saturday morning as a result.
Likely to just postpone it for a week, provided we have no cases. I think the league's just sort of holding its breath at the moment.
73 new COVID infections have been recorded in Victoria in the past 24 hours. At this stage, 21 are still under investigation. There are now 805 active cases in that state. The federal government says Australia needs to open up in unison once we hit vaccination targets of more than 70%. Some COVID-free states are arguing we should aim for 0 cases in the community. Infectious disease experts say that's unrealistic. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg argues the country could see itself in a bizarre situation unless we reopen at the same time.
Somebody in New South Wales could travel to Canada before they could go to Cairns, or someone in Victoria could go to Singapore or Bali before they could go to Perth. That is ridiculous, and we need to ensure we open up as one country.
The US state of Louisiana is being lashed by a massive storm. Hurricane Ida made landfall overnight as a Category 4. US President Joe Biden says as soon as Ida passes, they'll put the country's full might behind the rescue and recovery.
We've already pre-positioned resources that we know are going to be needed, and equipment and response teams in the region. This includes 2.5 million meals, 3 million litres of water. We've got generators in place, and we're in close touch with the power providers to get and restore power as soon as possible, because a lot of it's going to go out.
US military officials say a drone strike has prevented another deadly suicide attack in Afghanistan. The United States had been warned of another potential bombing targeting at Kabul airport. Meantime, the last military planes carrying British troops and diplomats from Afghanistan have landed back in the UK, ending Britain's 20-year military involvement. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has this warning for the Taliban.
If the new regime in Kabul wants diplomatic recognition, they will have to ensure safe passage for those who wish to leave the country, to respect the rights of women and girls, to prevent Afghanistan from again becoming an incubator for global terror.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
You could win millions with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Visit homelottery.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide Vice-Captain Ollie Wines is confident teammate Horatio Fantasia will play in the preliminary final in a fortnight's time. Fantasia was subbed out late in the win over Geelong on Friday night, but Wines says he should be okay.
I think he's pretty good. He was in at the club yesterday getting assessed, but look, that's the beauty of having a week off. He's got 2 weeks to be right, so I'm sure he'll be right to go that Saturday night.
Meantime, GWS star Toby Green has been referred directly to the tribunal for making contact with an umpire. That was during Saturday's win over Sydney. Naomi Osaka is feeling relaxed ahead of her return to the spotlight of women's tennis at the US Open tomorrow morning. The former world number one withdrew from the French Open over media commitments and pulled out of Wimbledon due to mental health issues. She says she knows she's divided opinion amongst fans.
I started to tell myself that it is what it is. Like, I did what I did, so I can't really change people's perception on me, and it might make me feel a little bit nervous.
The epic playoff between America's Patrick Cantlay and Bryson DeChambeau is set to go into a fifth hole as the tournament goes into darkness at the BMW Championship. Both players have had chances to win but have missed. And Australia has won 1 gold, 6 silver and 2 bronze medals on day 5 at the Paralympics in Tokyo. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for a service? Then book your service today at Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
At Seacliff, lights playing up on Brighton Road near Barwell Avenue. Crayford's on the freeway down track, right lane closed, speeds at 60 for work. Seeing some traffic building through there, leave early if you can. Busy on the drive-in, Main North Road, Darlington Street to Fitzgerald Avenue and Grand Junction Road, Foster's Road to Arthur Avenue. Look out for cameras, Anzac Highway, Glandore, Diagonal Road at Sturt. If you run a small business, then you need Thrive, all-in-one management software built for small businesses like yours. Search THRYV, Thrive today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
A mostly sunny Monday on the way with a top of 20, partly cloudy tomorrow also 20. Wednesday mostly sunny with a top of 26. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 to 9, because of the onerous restrictions on broadcasting rights and whatnot, we can't play you a highlight that we'd love to from the Paralympics, where our girls won silver in the 4x100 metre freestyle relay. And the reason we'd love to play it to you is because it features the youngest member of the Paralympic swim team, Adelaide's own 15-year-old Izzy Vincent, who did a magnificent job. It was a really exciting and somewhat controversial end too, because they touched in third, but the team that came first, the US and the British team, in fact, who weren't in the medals, got disqualified. So there was controversy at the end. They thought they won bronze. They ultimately won the silver. It's a great story. Tony Lee Vincent, Izzy's mum, joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Tony Lee, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You must be feeling extremely proud today, Tony Lee.
Yes, proud and exhausted. I think we all had 20 people here last night watching the race, and like you said, it was full of ups and downs, and so we certainly weren't thinking they were in medal contention, maybe a little bit outside of that, but just thrilled to see Isabella swimming with some real heroes of hers in that relay team.
So how long has she been swimming? Tell us a bit about Izzy.
Yeah, so Izzy actually has only been swimming for a relatively short amount of time. So she started swimming after a hydrotherapist suggested she try it. So she actually joined the Norwood Swim Club Enable program and sort of took to it quite well. I think that previously when Isabella had tried to swim, she wasn't using her legs. She doesn't use her legs in the water as much, and so was feeling that wasn't going to be a sport for her, but this program actually showed what she could do with the strength that she has. And so it's only been about 3 years that she's been competitively swimming, and so it's a long way from not doing anything to being a silver medalist at the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. It's quite bizarre, really.
We just picked up on something there, Tony Lee. So she's is Isabella to you. Is Izzy the nickname she's been given by the rest of Australia?
Well, yes. I guess she is Isabella to us, but no, Izzy is Izzy at the moment. I think she's Isabella and Bella to some friends when she was younger, and Izzy in the last few years.
Hey, how did you feel about your 15-year-old going off to compete overseas?
Yeah, I think most parents would understand that it's equal parts excitement and anxiousness. Certainly the first time that Izzy's been overseas on her own, or even away for this amount of time, and given that there's these COVID restrictions throughout, it has been quite a long time. So thankfully technology means that we can speak every day, we can see her, but it is, parenting from this far away can be a challenge at times.
Did COVID change your plans as a family too, Tony Lee?
Certainly,
Were you originally going to go? Did you want to go?
Well, look, originally we were planning for Paris 2024, so we were putting our probably savings towards that maybe, and Isabella's focus was Paris 2024. So when she was announced in the team in June, we already knew that we were unable to make the journey to Tokyo, so it was how we were going to support her being on her own. We always knew that we weren't going to be able to be there, but we've certainly been able to make sure that she's surrounded by really supportive people. So we've had some great support from Sassy here in South Australia in trying to make sure that there's some people over there that she knows and that she feels supported while she's away.
When will you get to see her next? Because she'll probably have to do quarantine and that when
That's
she gets
right.
back, won't she?
So, yeah, she flies into Melbourne on the 7th of September, and I'm flying from Adelaide to Melbourne on the same day. And so her and I will spend 2 weeks together, which is pretty exciting, I think. After this time away, it'll be 24/7 for 14 days, and then we're hoping that we'll fly back on the 22nd of September, and then she'll be free.
Do you have other children as well, or is she an only child? Or?
No, Isabella has a younger brother, Archie, who's 11.
He must have been going off last night. Was he watching it?
Yes, he is. Well, there's a bit of rivalry between Kurt Fernley, a commentator on Channel 7 and a friend of Izzy's, and Archie as to who is the number one supporter at the moment. But Archie's pretty sure that he's got Kurt pegged, so he is number one fan.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, Tony, when you spend those 2 weeks together, she's got a little bit more. She's come back with some medals in her bag. So, and
that's
probably
right.
the start of many, we imagine, with just being 15 years of age. Good on you. Lovely to chat with you, and I hope you have a nice 2 weeks over there in Victoria together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate it.
No, not at all. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, thanks. See you.
Tony Lee Vincent.
She's in esteemed company. Andy tells me that Matthew Cowdery, he won his first medal when he was 15. At Athens in 2004, and he ended up being our most decorated Paralympian
If she goes down that path, there'll be a lot of medals to come.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
We've struggled to find places for them all.
What a great thing.
It is. Wonderful story. Now, we don't do too much when it comes to new release music on this program. It's not really our bag. But sometimes these things are just too, they're too tantalising to pass over in a news sense. I want you to rate which you think which you like better out of the two new hit singles to hit the airwaves. Let's start with this entry from Usain Bolt.
Just a kid from the country, living the dream.
It's Country Utes by Usain Bolt in collaboration with his manager, Nugent N.J. Walker.
Nugent N.J.
Bit of a
Walker.
collab.
What a great name.
They've put together that. Okay, that's door one. Door two is Eric Clapton. Surprise new single that's out. Subject matter, we'll get to in a moment.
I knew that something was going on wrong when you started laying down the law. I can't move my hands, I break out in sweat. I wanna cry, can't take it anymore. But this has gotta stop. Enough is enough. I can't take this BS any longer. It's gone far enough. You wanna claim my soul? You'll have to come and break down this door.
It's a protest song by Eric Clapton against vaccinations and any form of lockdown and restriction as it pertains to COVID. Those lyrics, it's gone far enough. If you want to claim my soul, you'll have to come and break down this door.
Yeah, it's like a sort of Pete Evans set to music sentiment there. I like there's a guy called John Fugelsang on Twitter who said Eric Clapton's completed his transition from Delta blues artist to Delta variant artist. Someone else said that as punishment, he should be forced to listen to his local GP trying to play Layla on the guitar because the extent to which his musical know-how translates into any kind of cogent medical knowledge is debatable. His voice sounds pretty shot, doesn't it?
He said that when he tours this...
Maybe he needs a COVID test.
When he tours this, he's not going to tour anywhere where there's what he calls a discriminated audience. So anywhere that has rules about vaccinations, he's not going to...
So we're playing a lot of shows in, like, the Dakotas.
Yeah. Yeah, he's spending a
And
lot of
Brazil.
time. A lot of time. Yeah, that's right, Brazil. And some of the South.
You'll have to get past all the gurney, sadly.
Yeah. I didn't expect Usain to come out necessarily winning that contest in the battle of
I
song
like that.
making.
I thought it was
Usain Bolt and NJ Nugent
That was the
up
be- the
against
best,
Eric Clapton. But I think he's claimed another scalp, Usain.
Best Jamaican entry into popular song since... what was the last one? Was it Shaggy? Was he from there?
I'm not sure, but I think Andy's putting together a list, top 5 songs by world record holding sprinters. Looking forward to that tomorrow morning. The team...
Are there any others?
Well, Andy will find them if there are. The team at Dave Potter and Alclin Hill BMW opening this Wednesday, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Sickliff, got lights playing up on Brighton Road near Barwell Avenue. Crayford's on the freeway down track, right lane closed there. Speeds at 60 for works. Seeing some traffic building there already this morning. The up track also has speeds reduced from the tunnels to Crayford's. Cowandilla expect delays on Marion Road near Sildonald Bradman Drive for asphalt work and getting busy Main North Road, Darlington Street to Fitzgerald Avenue. Homeowners need tradies and they're looking for them on High Pages right now. With an average of 1 job posted every 20 seconds, list your business on High Pages today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Census night was Tuesday the 10th of August. It's not too late, so complete now. For help, visit census.abs.gov.au or call 1800 512 441. Authorised by the Australian Bureau of Statistics, Canberra.
G'day, Scotty Cam here. With Father's Day on the way, make sure you head into your local Mitre 10 and get Dad something he really wants. But if you're not sure what to get him, don't worry. Grab a Mitre 10 gift card and let him decide for himself. Plus, with every purchase of $50 or more, go into the draw to win one of 4 Weber family cues. They're perfect for entertaining all year round. How good's that? That's mighty helpful Mitre 10. Conditions apply. See in store for details.
Hi, it's Hazel from Physio Extra. If you're in pain today because you had a big weekend on the footy field, on the court or in the garden, give us a call today for a same-day appointment. For example, if you rolled your ankle, try and stay off it as much as possible, compress it and add a little bit of ice. When you come in for your appointment, we might ask you questions like if you heard any sounds, if you've hurt the area before, or if you've done anything similar on the opposite side.
It's the extra in Physio Extra that makes all the difference. Visit physioextra.com for your nearest location or call for a same-day appointment.
This is a message to all local businesses.
On behalf of all radio listeners.
Let's hear from you.
Yeah, we want to know when your shoes are on sale.
If you can help me remortgage.
Or landscape my yard.
There's more of us listening to radio than ever before.
In our cars, on our phones, laptops, smart speakers.
In fact, 95% of all Australians.
That's a lot of potential new customers.
So come on. We're all ears.
Advertise on radio and watch your business grow. For help with radio advertising, visit radioalive.com.au.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
12 minutes to 9. We spent a good deal of time earlier in the program trying to devise the David Koch scale of happiness, trying to measure high-end elation I think we settled it somewhere between the Richter scale and the Scoville scale in terms of it growing exponentially as you get higher. The man himself joins us now to perhaps give us some insight into how good he's feeling on this Monday morning. Koshy, how are you?
Thank you, guys. Over the moon, but tense. Starting to feel sick already because you know, if you get carried away, the footy gods will come and just knock you down and teach you a lesson. And so you always have that in the back of your mind. But really proud of how the boys played on Friday night.
Where'd you watch the game, Koshy? Who were you with?
I was with Lib and also my son and daughter-in-law, the Mexicans. They're living with us at the moment as they save up for a house. So it was the four of us. I sit away from Lib. She sits on the couch. I sit at a corner of the dining room table. I don't sit next to her because I just don't want to talk.
Seriously.
How far into an email to the umpiring department did you get before half-time?
Well, I thought that was sort of misinterpreted because when I tweeted out 18-5, they were my two best on ground. Zach Butters, 18, of course.
Oh, right.
And
Okay.
Dan Houston, 5, number 5. So I thought they were playing really well.
So you say it was just some sort of Toby Green style mix-up?
Yeah, I thought it could be misinterpreted. So.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I would have made the point even more forcefully than that. It was a disgrace. But, yeah, so what is it now? One win away.
Yeah. Did any part of you think, being on Friday, you could get to Adelaide in 2 weeks' time, be here for the prelim?
I've not for the prelim. I've applied. I went on the SA Health website and sort of applied to see if I could come and Lib and I come and quarantine over there. Haven't heard back, so...
Can you quarantine at the Adelaide Oval Hotel? That's the question then to be asking.
That would be absolutely perfect, but I'll quarantine anywhere.
The other thing, though, Koshy, as a journalist, as a working journalist, you're an essential worker. Could you cover the grand final? Could you become the boundary rider for Channel 7?
Well, look, you need to do it the right way, and I haven't done boundary riding before, so I think that would be pushing your luck a bit. But so I just look at it's if I'm lucky enough to get a pass over, terrific. But there are lots of people who haven't been able to go over for a whole range of different things. So just luck of the draw and see how it goes.
Now, Koshy, you were talking news poll on Sunrise this morning. We've got a little bit of an exchange that you had with Barnaby Joyce.
Well, I said that before at the start of the COVID pandemic. I said to my colleagues and said nationally, the polls are going to go down. It's going to be a tough time. And in any game of cricket, in any innings, you get a time where you're spending more time in your crease, batting things away and staying in, but things open up. And this was around about the same polling, around about where the coalition was the last time before they won the election. So ultimately, I'll tell you, some person's polling's gone up. Joel Fitzgibbons, his polling's gone up since he distanced himself from Anthony Albanese. His polling's gone right up by 5%. And that says something, doesn't it? That don't think that all nirvana resides with Anthony Albanese. He's just sitting back quietly, but ultimately he has to come out, start putting some costs on his plan. And we've got some time to the election.
Well, I like the cricket analogy because it does feel like we were none for 50, but now we're about 6 for 111.
Yeah, it was a great spin, wasn't it? Great spin job. Sort of, we're in the same position since before the last election. Well, yes, there was no COVID then, and then a quick flick pass to Albanese's numbers was the typical political spin in a situation like this. But there's no going away from it that, everyone's just getting a bit sick and tired of the politics between the feds and the states, and we just want to see some decent leadership on this.
What's the mood like in Sydney at the moment, Koshy? You're coming up for what, 10 weeks in lockdown?
Yep. 10 weeks, 1,200 cases a day. Interestingly, hospitalisations and deaths are way below what Melbourne was this time last year in the thick of their big lockdown. So, which is proving the point that vaccinations sort of may not stop the actual virus, but it certainly reduces the severity of it. And you're starting to see that in the numbers now. So it is, I think it's sort of an acceptance that it will never get down to zero again. And there is a massive push to get everyone vaccinated. And I think we're even on Saturdays and Sundays, when GP clinics are often closed, they're still doing 80,000 a day, which is terrific, and 800,000 vaccinations last week. Remember, sort of Sydney is Adelaide, Perth and Brisbane combined. And so it's a massive city. So they're getting through it all, and that's the community support that it is. Get vaccinated to try and get out of this.
When was the last time you were in Adelaide? Because it's so weird, like the talking to some friends in Sydney last week, the mindset over there seems to be, well, look, lockdown's clearly not stopping the cases, so maybe we need to, as Gladys Berejiklian is doing, shift the conversation to, all right, we've just got to accept that this is going to be here. Yet here in Adelaide, the view is no, we've kept it out, and we should still try to keep it out.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I suppose the blueprints are elsewhere in the world, and sort of no one has been able to keep it out. No country's been able to keep it out. So, but the freedoms that South Australians are having, and West Australians are having, and Queenslanders are having, if that can be maintained, I can see why people want it maintained. But I suppose the view of some of the experts is that, well, is that a bit unrealistic given what's happening around the world and how Delta, this variant, is so much more infectious.
Yeah, for sure.
So, it's a really tricky balancing act at the moment. You wouldn't want to be any of the decision makers, either state or federal, on this.
No, absolutely.
Well, while locked up in your home, Koshy, I reckon you can get through the replay Friday night about 27 times more in the next 2 weeks.
I'm up to 14.
Okay,
So.
all right. Might have to revise that number upward. Good on you, Koshy.
See you guys.
The host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Gosh. Time to go behind closed doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
5AA Weekend Breakfast with Mike Keelan and Angie McBride.
Yes, welcome along to the show. Michael Keelan is back too. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Angie. Hello, everybody. It's great to be back. It really is.
Is it going to be a nice day, Michael?
It is, Angie. It's going to be a lovely day. Sun will be out and spring is in the air.
Oh, yes.
September's coming and it won't be long now before we're sitting here telling everybody it's the first day of spring.
Yeah, Wednesday that'll be, Michael.
Yes, that's right, and we'll feel good about ourselves and we'll prolong the myth invented by the Weather Bureau to make it easier for them to keep records. It'll be a complete celebration of the dissemination of misinformation.
Oh, that's great, Michael.
Actually, that's the point, isn't it? I don't know why YouTube doesn't crack down on that.
Yes, because they've got all those.
They've got the Flat Earth Society and the moon landing deniers and the International Space Station skeptics, people that say there's no such thing as gravity.
Oh, yes.
They put all those wacko search results down the bottom of the list, but I'm allowed to get on the air and tell everybody that the 1st of September is the start of spring.
I know, Michael, but at least, Michael, you're not the only wacko. My God, it's a lovely day today. Not the only one.
Right. I was looking on Scammell's website the other day, and Scammell's the auction place, and they've got a whole bunch there of butter churners. You know, the old-fashioned butter churners.
Oh yes,
yeah, up for auction. Because people years and years and years ago would get their milk and put it in the churner and make their own butter.
Yeah, because people these days are a bit more health conscious and like to make their own milk, don't they? And so they can then make butter.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think they still use cows, but these days people would just go along to Harvey Norman, buy an electric thing, and put your milk in, press the button, and out it comes. A couple of minutes later as butter.
That's right. I do like the old-fashioned way of doing things, though, Michael. There's something a bit romantic about the old butter churner.
That's right, there is. But of course, it would take a long time to make butter in an old-fashioned butter churner.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Well, it would take forever if I tried to make butter. I'd be churning away for weeks and weeks because, of course, you don't make butter from milk. You make it from cream.
That's right, Michael.
I'd love to churn some thick homemade butter.
Yes.
It's almost as thick as the misinformation I churn out.
We're out of time on this Monday morning. Stick around for Leon Biner, and we'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.